All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, want to welcome you to another episode of Hebrews in the Hood. As you know, this is Mikha'EL Ben Israel's YouTube show. We're doing it live through Google Hangouts. You also know Mikha'EL from the Walls of Jericho, also a Hebrew War Machine member. Today we have several distinguished guests joining us as panelists today. We have Moreh Yeshaya, also known as Kashub the Danite. You probably saw him in the last video with Priest Daniela. Very fluent in the Hebrew. Comes with some strong lessons on the internet. Probably saw him with Mikha'EL and Alvin, some of the hangouts they've done. And you've probably heard some of his debates and lessons on Hebrew War Machine Radio, and also Debate Talk for You, hosted by Sal Showtime. So we're grateful to have him present today. Mikha'EL, if you would, briefly touch on what you got for us, but King Yeshaya, also known as Wayne Barnes, LaRon Campbell, also known as G Consciousness, and DJ Black Charm, Jim Brooks is joining us. So, Mikha'EL, peace and blessings to you, brother. I'm glad we could come together for fellowship in another episode of Hebrews in the Hood. Please, brother, take it from here. The floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Brother Bassem. I'd like to say shalom to you. Shalom to the whole panel. Grace and peace to everybody. Thanks for thanks for accepting my invitation. First and foremost, without a doubt, I have to give all praises to the Most High Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, which is the one and true only God, and His Son Jesus Christ the Mashiach. Today, on Hebrews in the Hood, I want to talk about the little situation everybody's saying is getting old. With the whole Kemet conscious community in the Hebrews. The thing about it is, it's getting old, but I'm at a point now where I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. Because to be quite honest with you, it's been going on for centuries. But the thing about it is, this is where the problem come in at. When you claim to be scholars, and all of this is supposed to be for the edification of our people, and rather the two concepts differ from one another, it does not have to turn into a physical conflict. But that's where it looked like it's going. Now, I know it's people out here who believe a lot of this stuff has become Hollywood. I listen to every side, and I can see some of that on certain occasions, that people are doing it for ratings or recognition or, things of that nature. But there's people who we know, and I know personally, from both sides, but more importantly, I know on a personal basis from the Israelite side, who do not find this funny. They don't think it's a joke. Some of them even feel as though it's exploitation. It's exploitation to a degree, and to another degree, it's gonna wind up getting somebody hurt, because you're dealing with not only a strong belief system that has facts to bag it up, but also when you get to talking about physically putting your hands on people, and a lot of these brothers that I know in the Hebrew Israelite community, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot in the Kemet side too, come from the hood. And that's why this show is Hebrews in the Hood. It's not a ratchet show. It's not going to be like some of these other shows you see, like on Amon-Ra Squad, where they just cussing each other out like Negroes on, like coons on the corner. We not going to do that. I'm not going to tolerate it. You can get your opinion off. You can bring your perspective. I mean, sometimes it might even get a little grown up. But one rule for the panelists: we don't drop F-bombs. I mute you the first time. I warn you the first time, then mute you after that, then you got to get off. Because kids, there's still going to be children to watch this. And the reason I say that is because had I known what I know now at the age 7 and 8 years old, I wouldn't have to go through so much. I wouldn't have to go through so much to re-educate myself. So we want to teach these kids at a young age of who they are and the biblical text and the realities of the world. So with that being said, Yeah, the first issue I want to come up with, I would like to read something. Of course, let me read something real quick. I want to go to I want to go to our manuscript, our book. I like to go to Proverbs. I like to read this. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 19. And this is some good advice from King Solomon. It says in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 19, and this is what it reads. And people really need to take heed to this in the quote unquote conscious community. Because there's a lot of proud brothers with, with some slick mouths. And this is what it say. I'm gonna start at verse 18. It say, pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. It also says, better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. And it's a lot of proud cats over there on that quote unquote Kemet side. And I understand people want to get some type of unity and some type of common ground where we can find each other because they still are brothers. To us, they just blind Israelites. But the thing is, when these brothers don't have a moral fabric that they really care about, they will say and do anything because they pride. And that's going to be the cause of a lot of their falls. And some Israelites fall into that category too. But my whole thing is, it's better to be by yourself and be humble than to be trying to divide the spoils or chill, break bread with these cats. That's like that. So after a while, you just got to stay away from them. You know what I mean? And this book testify to real life stuff. And when you don't follow it, things happen to you. That being said, I like to, in case no one hasn't seen it, it's been all on YouTube and all of that. And like I said, I'm asking the panelists not for us to drop F-bombs, but there will be some explicits in these clips that I'm going to show you. And that's because that's the type of spirit that these cats bring. And when they bring this type of spirit, I'm going to tell you, like I said, a lot of us come from the streets. It's only a matter of time that you're going to react equal to that. Let's just keep it real. We men from the hood, we're going to react. So I'm going to let the brother Basim play this real quick. I see G-Con and the brother Kashub dropped out, but they'll sign right back in. They'll be able to get back in. I know it kicked people out sometimes. But yeah, brother, go ahead and play it live for the audience when you're ready.
Okay, Mikha'EL, I'm assuming the first one you would like to play is Minister Inky's threats?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Now,
that was the first one, brother.
okay, can y'all hear me clear?
Yes.
Now, as y'all can see, he just told his brother that he would smack the ish out of him. Now, all this stemmed back from, some things people said, certain conversations was not known to be recorded on. But this the point. These are supposed to be our scholars. And I've heard Minister Inky talk. He is a highly intelligent brother. Now, when it gets to the point where you saying, look, all of your accolades, all of your PhDs or whatever you have, all of the millions of books you read, if your reason for this is not only to uplift yourself and to say, hey, look at my accolades, but to uplift your people, how can you go public and when a conversation that brother didn't curse at him one time, y'all can go back and look at it. And if you know anything about Ron Divine Prospect, that was the brother he was talking to. Ron Divine Prospect is one of the most humblest brothers that you will ever know. And the thing is, I mean, he's not an aggressive type of brother. He's never let that type of spirit off. So what they do is, this is a case of picking who you think is the weaker link. Now, I don't mean that it's true. Ron Divine Prospect might know 9 different forms of judo or something. You know what I'm saying? Might foot slap Minister Inky up. But that's not the point. The point is you think you got to win, so you're going to threaten him on TV in front of people who want to learn from you, and the way you react to a disagreement is I will slap the ish out of you. Now, y'all just saw that yourself, and the reason I wanted that to be played was from what I just read in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 19. And this book that we believe in gives us a certain certain guidelines for morality and how to behave ourselves. But this same book lets you know when it get to a certain point or it get to that point, oh, we men. And a man is supposed to defend himself. But this book also teaches us how to avoid them situations. And to be honest with you, basically what it tells us is to stay away from foolish people, from fools. I don't care how much they know. I don't care how many letters and degrees they got behind their name. It's a bunch of smart dummies out here. And that's the whole thing, Israel. We got to learn to stay away from that point blank, period. Now, with that being said, I got another clip, because if you look at what the scriptures told us in Proverbs 16 and 19, again, I'll read it again for those of you who just tuned in. It says, verse 18, it tells you that pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before the fall. Now, these cats are some proud individuals. It says also in 19, better is it to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to devise spoil with the proud. So it's better for you, honestly, to have a humble spirit and break your bread with people, who not all puffed up or who not at a high social status, more like on a lonely type thing than to try to divide your spoil and be around these proud individuals. Because it's going to get not only them in trouble, but you in trouble if you're around them. Now, this clip right here, what I want to play, now this really gets explicit. But if y'all can hear it, I don't know, it sounds kind of choppy. I hope y'all can hear it. But basically, the same thing, Polite, who we just seen in the other one with Minister Inky, he's going to pull the same thing, same way, with a brother much smaller than his stature. Oh, until, the brother Tazariak stands up for that brother and basically put him in his place and checked him and made him look very stupid. He actually made him show his true colors of how soft he is and how much of a coward he is, because that would have been a nice even fight. Y'all both about 6'4", 6'5", so you want to pick on somebody that's 5'4" and 135 pounds. That say a lot about you. Okay, go ahead and play the clip, bro.
Okay, Mikha'EL, I've got it queued up. This is about 10 minutes long, so did you just want to play the whole?
I think you could just play it from about I believe it was about the 7-minute 30-second mark.
Okay, no problem.
about the 7. Matter of fact, go back. Yep, it's about the right up in there. Go ahead, because he threatened. He asked the little brother, Contazak, did he want a box, and what happened if I put my hands on you? Go ahead and watch this.
I'll just play it from 7 minutes onward.
Okay, go ahead.
At the crowd while you've been talking to me. That's double standard. Because you're a hypocrite. And all these characteristic flaws that I'm bringing out right now proves you're not a leader for no people.
Is that you're a white man trying to cause confusion? You're a white man that's going to make black men fight each other. There you go. You're a white man that's going to cause black people to fight each other.
Let me tell you how much of a bitch Belite is. What the brother said was correct.
Right.
The brother came out here and said, he called Contazak my daddy, Contazak my daddy.
I apologize.
Now, you didn't. Now, Contazak responded by bringing up his father, his spiritual father, who he called, who's a fucking child molester. Your father is a child molester, period. And he got in his feelings. He got mad, and he thought he was going to punk Contazak. If you want to cross the road, cross the fucking river. That's what you do. Don't sit here and talk shit like what's going to pop out, what's going to do this. If you're going to cross the fucking line. Otherwise, get the fuck out of here. That's what you do. Disrespect. And then, like you said, I disrespected you, your sister, you, your daughter, your wife, everybody. You ain't stepped to me. But you didn't step to me in the moment. I apologize to you 6 months later. But in the debate, you did not step to me. You didn't step to me in the debate. When I embarrassed your wife, no, you did not. Yes, I did. When I said, how many of y'all, how do they treat her like a fucking whore? That's what I said in the debate. You didn't step to me. So I stepped to my brother. That's my joke. I'm not taking it back. What I'm showing is I will coward you up. Because if you was a man, when I said it, you would have reacted the same way that you did to him. But you did not. You thought he was weak. He ain't right. If you want to cross the line, you'd have crossed it. If you want to play games, go play that shit somewhere else. We got business to do here. Now, cross the line or get the fuck out. Either one.
I want to see y'all jump.
Either one. Either one. Contazak, go ahead, teach your topic. Ignore this shit.
No.
No sweat.
Get the fuck out is what you told me.
So now,
that's exactly what I told you. I said, no, I didn't just say that. I said, cross the line or get the fuck out. That's choose one. Well, I ain't going to impose on your space.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
I know you're not going to.
You want to see your man impose on our space. Impose on our space. Teach your topic. Ignore him. Right.
Oh boy. Well, as y'all can see, it didn't quite turn out too good for Polite on that one. You know, it's real embarrassing. You know, when you're doing all this big teeth and shooting up Bibles and all this type of stuff, and then when you finally get the chance of somebody call your bluff and tell you, man, if you want to step across this line, just do it. Basically, that was a cool hood way of saying, if you want to man up and do these knuckles, man, go ahead and step across this line. We ain't got to do all this talking. Well, he knew that I guess he since he's such a good philosopher, I guess he sat there and he basically he calculated the chances and percentages of him winning that fight. So he knew it wasn't gonna happen. Therefore, I take it he did what was advised and he got the blankety blank on about his business. So with that being said, I gotta go back to and again, you know, a lot of people will say, well, you know, the brothers Tazariak and them shouldn't have reacted that way. But at the same time, you know, like I said, when somebody keep picking at a wound, picking at a scab, it's gonna open up sooner or later. You're not gonna like what come out of it. So with that being said, I'm gonna read Proverbs chapter 18, and I'm gonna read just these two verses. Proverbs 18, 6 and 7. It say, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth call it for strokes. Now, that's exactly what Polite did. He came down there, and he called the little brother. He said Tazariak was his daddy, you know, trying to be funny. like he running up under Tazariak. So when the brother Kadazar came back and said, well, you know, your spiritual daddy, he wasn't talking about his biological daddy because he said it straight through the door. Your spiritual father, which would be Malachi Z. York, y'all know him, a spaced out weird brother, used to be a Hebrew, created new ideas and got into all type of space age stuff, talking about he 1,000 years old or something like that. But anyway, regardless of his doctrine, the brother, you know, has been incarcerated for charges of, like the brother said, child molestation. Now, we don't know if it's true or not. I mean, because, you know, the government will do certain things to leaders that are respected. But at the same time, he did admit it. I seen it when he was at court and he actually pleaded guilty. And that's the thing. If you a man of the Most High God and you know you didn't do anything and you innocent, you will not plead guilty. You will not plead guilty because, for one, you know that your God, the one and true and only whatever deity that you supposedly have faith in, should be able to, you know, be able to basically clean your slate. He should be able to represent you and get you out of any jam. But see, that's the problem. When you leave the God, the one and true and only God of the Hebrews, and then you start adopting all these other gods and trying to put them all together to start some type of unification between people under a false and paganistic premise. So his gods, plural, and matter of fact, he said he was a god, if I'm not mistaken. So he had the keys to everything, heaven and the creation, but, you know, like I seen somebody post the other day, but he didn't have the keys to get up out the penitentiary. So, you know, it's just pure foolishness. And like the book said, it said that, I got to read this again. This is hilarious because it's right to the point. In verse 67, it said, fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. Y'all know what that means. A stroke is getting punched in the mouth. And that's exactly what Polite just did. His mouth was begging to get hit in the mouth. And it looked like it could have happened, but you see he piped down. He got a little wisdom after he saw it was about to go there. The next verse says, a fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Now that's bad because it's telling you running your mouth can get you destroyed or cause the end of you to cease. And a snare to your soul or your body, that's a trap, man. Once you get caught in a snare, you can't get out. So that goes back to that old saying in the hood, don't write a check that your, you know, ass can't cash or whatever. So with that, I'd like to go to my panelists and ask their outtake on the entire situation and where they think that this is going to wind up going, you know, if we even just keep dealing with these fools. First, I like to go to my new guest, a brother I've been dealing with on in certain groups in Hebrew War Machine, Talk of the Titans. You know, I see him on Facebook. We've dialogued, you know, a couple of times. The brother got a lot of knowledge, and he's a pretty cool, humble brother. But he knows this as good as anybody because he stays, you know, fighting for the faith against the Kemet science or Kemetic cats or whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to go first to my brother Jen Brooks, man. Give you a few minutes and just give your whole outtake on the thing. Jen, you can speak, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
All right. Well, the separation of this word conscience and say conscience community, and and to me it seems like it's the separation of the word, which is the thing that brings on a contention right there. You know, first, you know, to say that okay, because we are into the scripture, are we still asleep? I feel like we are just as awakened. Now here's the thing. In my opinion, we are still asleep when we
I can't hear you, Jen. I don't know if you muted. Well, if you muted yourself, or did he get stuck, or what?
It looks like his internet froze up. Why don't you take over to maybe go to continue till he comes back, but his screen's frozen. Oh, there we go.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
your froze has screen. Your screen have froze up,
my
Jen.
phone's going out.
The last thing you said was yeah, we hear you now. We hear you now. It's going in and out a little bit though.
Okay, here. What I was saying was we have to not separate ourselves from conscience, you know. And what's happening is that to me that's what's happening. You have some of the Hebrews, a lot of the Kemet brothers, they separate us from being conscious, as if we're not aware of why we enter the scriptures how we enter the scriptures. See, the thing is this right here. Most of us been in the streets, come from the streets, and know a lot about street stuff, and still have some friends who tied up in the streets. And then we get into the scriptures and we understand that we blessed and we saved from that. Now, here's the catch right here. When we get into a battle royal with another person because they have a different ideology, to say that looking at looking at the Inky video, and he said Hebrew sign, and you look at the ISUBK, and the guy called a man dad a child molester, a homosexual faggot, or whatever he was calling him. You know, that was disrespectful. Also, it's like, so who are the awakened ones? You know, because you got to think, if we into the scriptures and they into the Nile Valley text, and we are as learned as we are,
Your phone breaking up.
and we supposed to be when to know or continue to doing what he was doing before he even met you or before you even tried to introduce him to anything. You know, because he's like, you know, and then you think about the alleged hustling that's going on with those brothers, all that old stuff, you know, and then
You breaking up again, Jen.
you know, like you were saying earlier about, you know, the Israelites in Africa, and then to separate, what's going to happen is we are going to allow.
Right.
And
Your line,
you know how
hey,
everybody know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Hey, Jen, your phone breaking up real bad. I need you to try to. Yeah, it's breaking up real bad, bro. We heard like half of what you were saying.
We can go outside where I can be heard better. How about now?
Yeah, it's better.
All right. Well, what I was saying was, we know what eventually what will happen. You know,
Right.
when you playing around out here in these streets, you're gonna link up with somebody who is not delivered fully like we are. Even somebody in Kemet gonna link up with some people who's not delivered into the real understanding of Nile Valley text, and somebody in the Hebrew community gonna link up with somebody who's not delivered in the scriptures, and you're gonna allow those people in, and when that conversation of guns, this, that, and the third get to, and fighting and all that, these people who aren't delivered is gonna pop it off, you know. And when it pop, the police don't care nothing about neither side. That's gonna be first. The police don't care nothing about none of us, you know. So if we don't get that understood first, that's going to, then we'll see. And that's all I got to say. I mean, I have some scriptures I want to read, but then I want to attack this idea first, this thought that we on right now, you know, and let it be known. I'm going to mute my mic. Y'all can go in.
Okay, cool. And I just like to say, that's some good points you brought up, brother, because I mean, to be technical, we are part of the conscious community, because that's one of the first things brothers say when they come to the realization that they are the true Israelites of the Bible, that we are the descendants of the true quote-unquote Jews and the 12 tribes. That first thing we say is, when I became conscious. So we are somewhat a part of the conscious community, but what's happening is they want to own claim to that term conscious community. And a lot of times, I just let them have it. Because to be honest with you, without the Israelites, there is no conscious community. Because a lot of them not really conscious. I mean, conscious of what? That they alive, that they breathing? Because when you really get into the information, they're not too conscious. But I see what you're saying. And on that last part, were able to hear you about the little boy from Africa and that whole situation. So we're going to talk about that on the second part. But with that being said, I'd like to go next to, and I'm going to open you back up in a minute, bro. And we're going to have a full dialogue. And it's better when you outside, too. We heard you real clear when you were outside. So when it's time for you to speak again, just go outside. All right, with that being said, I'd like to go to my brother Wayne, a.k.a. King Yeshaya, and see what's his outtake on the whole threatening and all that type of stuff, and just the whole Hebrew Kemet thing back and forth in general. So go ahead, Shalom, Yeshaya.
Shalom, shalom, big bro. I hope everybody can hear me. I think it's very childish, and I think people feel intellectually insulted. A lot of things aren't even, I don't even think a lot of things should be said on camera if everybody doesn't know what's going on. Personal things should be handled behind the scenes, man. You know what I'm saying? We all grown up, man. You know what I mean? I blame that on the platform and the people that allow it to go down like that to generate money. It causes beef, it causes strife. It's portrayed in a negative way when you got people saying they're going to smack somebody. You got people saying, you know, throw your hand and all this kind of stuff like that. And even though people may really personally just feel like they need to say what they got to say because they're feeling aggravated, they also have to keep in mind that, don't come up here making noise. They also have to keep in mind that you are on camera. So it's still an example there that you got to set, man, when you're talking about trying to unify, conduct business with another black brother. That's something that people should not see right there. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what the ideology differences or not. So that's all I really want to say on that.
Okay, cool. And I feel you on that. I feel you on that. A lot of people, see what it's doing, it's making a lot of people kind of suspect about the whole setup. Because I know when it first kicked off some years back, it was legit. It was a legit beef and beliefs. It was a legit competition on who telling the truth. Are we really the nation of Israel? Are we really the people of the book? Is the Bible really the best, weapon against us being suppressed, us being oppressed, and us being dysfunctional? Versus, should we claim to be ancient Egyptian? Should we go back to what they feel is an older text by date? Should we go back to the original that they feel are our original gods and that we feel are pagan gods, which come from Nimrod? That's another story. And yeah, and so it was legit at first, but after a while, if you're just looking at it, it's starting to mutate into this like WWE type thing, you know, and you know, a lot of people have said that before. That's the look it's starting to give. And so, you know, if you look at it from that point, the only reason it even became questionable and came to a point like that is because, honestly, I said overall, the Hebrews could control all that. We fell into that. I'm not blaming nobody in particular. I could have been one on the stage debating, you know, or anything like that. That wasn't the problem. The problem was after the debates and we made our point clear, we kept going to the same platform that was set up the exact same way for foolery. Point blank period is set up for foolery. We got enough avenues. I mean, if you put the people who call themselves the quote unquote Kemet community, if that's even a word, because I've never seen the Kemet community in my life. I've seen a building with a few of them in there, and I've seen them online. You know, in Chicago, we have them, but probably for every one of them, it's probably 7 Israelites. You know, we got camps everywhere. We feed people. You see them outside. You don't really see the Kemet community, but I'm not going to just dog and rag on them like that. What I'm saying is, that's where I feel you on it. It's starting to look like some type of form of entertainment, but that's dangerous because a lot of people take this serious, and it's gonna get to the point where people gonna start running into each other in the streets, and they gonna have problems, and that's what we don't need, because now it's like, you know, you left gang banging and thugging to become an enlightened person, you know, to become knowledgeable. And then you go right back into the same mentality. So, yeah, I agree with you on that. That's some straight up foolery. And I like to see, I see a lot of people dropping off because I think they doing it from their phone. And I know how it is doing Google Hangout from your phone. It'll keep kicking you off. I know we spoke to, Sim spoke to Ron Divine Prospect, and he was trying to come on, but I kind of did this at the last minute, probably 2 hours in advance, and inbox some people, Danyala and a couple of more people. I think I even inboxed Gorilla Hebrew, but they probably working or whatever. So we'll just try it again and try to get all of them on the panel. And but in the meantime, I got another subject I want to deal with. Before I get to that, though, I want to ask my co-host, Brother Basim, if he has anything he would like to relay to the whole quote-unquote conscious community beef, and you know, people calling people out talking about they'll put their hands on them, and you know, till they get checked, then they nuts. Excuse me, they male fortitude disappear. So you got something to say about that, Brother Basim?
Sure, sure. You know, me personally, I hate to see it escalate to the point where it could get physical and people are going to have to put hands on one another. But one thing I noticed is if you see how serious with Tazariak's facial expressions, his whole demeanor, his whole body language, that man was serious about his brother in Christ, you know, his fellow Israelite, and regardless of that man's less than melanated skin or how dark he was, that was his brother, and he stood by him through thick and thin. What I find real interesting is leading up to this, Minister Inky was doing a lot of talking, making a lot of threats, raising his voice, you know, trying to, I guess, you know, check people, sun them, and he was, you know, giving the impression that he would ride or die for Polite. But I didn't see any of that from Inky when they were right there face to face with those other men. And also, for anybody that caught the live stream on Sunday, which was when Two Worlds Collide with Polite and Tazariak. Tazariak brought that same gentleman with him the next day, and Polite had Inky. And for anybody that saw the live stream, I think it's obvious that Polite and Inky were trying to do some damage control, but the damage has clearly already been done. But also, Priest Daniela, Divine Prospect, and Zion Lex, all three of those gentlemen's name was brought up during that live stream, and I caught Polite reaching and blatantly lying. He blatantly lied on Zion Lex, and he blatantly lied on Priest Daniela. But me and Mikha'EL spoke with those gentlemen. They were present with us yesterday during the live stream. They watched it with us. And they're going to be addressing it whether or not on this platform with us or on their own platforms. But I just thought that should be known. But sure, Mikha'EL, I appreciate it, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, and thanks, Brother Bassem. I'm glad you brought that up with the whole thing. Yeah, they threw some false, to you know, to say it lightly, they threw some false accusations about out there about, I didn't really catch the part they said about Zion Lex, but I know you caught it soon as it happened, but I caught it with the misquote that they said about Danyalu. And yeah, that's see, this is becoming a reoccurring thing with them, is they don't have a problem with lying. They don't have a problem with twisting people's words, sound biting people, all those type of things. And that goes back to one's moral fabric. You know, integrity is everything, man. And if you can't hold a man by his word, and that's in any culture. I mean, I don't care what you call yourself. A man's word is his bond, it's his credit card, it's his whole nine. And when you don't have that, you can't trust somebody on face value, then how in the world can you trust them to help uplift your people out of a ditch? I mean, you would be naive to do that. I mean, you might as well just be like the regular religious people who give all their money to Creflo Dollar, TD Jakes, and all these other cats, knowing that the community is not getting anything in return, but to be able to see them fly off in private jets and limousines and things of that nature. So it's the same thing, man, if you ask me. I'm not saying it's about the whole conscious community, because that includes a lot of people. You got more science, you got the Nation of Islam, you got a lot of groups, of course, the Nuwabi and Kemet, Pan-Africans, RBG, all that type of thing. And of course the Hebrew Israelites. But the thing is, the main characters that's becoming famous, they all seem to act very similar. Like this really not serious to them. This is entertainment. Like in some shape, form, or fashion, they doing this just for notoriety. That's it, just for notoriety. They really don't care, because, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I'm pretty sure it's people that do some things, probably have some little cookouts and stuff we don't know about. But on a grand scale, if they making this much money and they have this much knowledge to get us out of these financial woes, they should be able to have a platform or some events that are almost nationally known where they helping our people. Either clothing giveaways, food, or something like that. And they can correct me if they have some that we just don't know about. Maybe they do it underground, some secret. Maybe you got to do a secret handshake and flash an ankh or something silly like that. But I don't see it. But when it comes to the Israelites, I see it. I see it in Chicago. I even hear about the little things now in Detroit, where I'm at now. With brothers, have camps here. And they doing little, things in the community or whatever. So we take this serious. This is not just for our faces and our voices to be heard, but this is for the truth to come out. This is for salvation for our people. And, it's for the correction of the woes and the plight of us as a whole, as a nation. So I just say I apologize to everybody. Some of the panelists, I believe, they were busy, they couldn't make it, so we'll do another one and where I can get their outtake on it. And I know my brother Kashu, he just like to let y'all know that he was trying to do because he was in traffic, so he was trying to do his hangout from his cell phone. And one thing I know about it, that is not always that trustworthy, because for some odd reason it does it to me. It kicks you out. It kicks you out when you're trying to do it on the phone sometimes, depending on how far you are from the towers or the interference and things of that nature. So I'm not going to let the show dwindle off just because of a couple of guests dropped off, because these issues have to be dealt with regardless. I have another issue. This is the second part of the show. Like I said, since I can't have all the panel that I want here, I won't make it too long. But I do got my brother Yeshai on here. I'm glad he was able to stay on, because I know he want to jump on this subject. And what I'm going to do is probably next week sometime, because I'm going to do at least two Hebrews in the hood per week. It'll usually be around the same time, between 3 and 4 o'clock. And I'll let this brother. I'm gonna make sure this brother be a panelist next week because we're gonna have a subject where we're gonna have the all Israelites on here, and we're gonna have 2 sections. We're gonna have the brothers who believe in the chart, and we're gonna have the brothers who may not necessarily subscribe to the chart, but the subject won't be so much the chart itself. The subject will be the exclusion of all the other Israelites that are scattered abroad throughout the world, according to the scriptures and according to geography, history, and migrational periods. And this is something that needs to be addressed because I've even heard brothers publicly say from camps who believe in the chart, mainly from One West camps, say that they know it's Israelites in Africa. They actually know them by name. And to some people out there in the public, that would shock them because they never hear them talk about it. They almost act as though the entire African continent is full of Hamites, and the Israelites over there, basically they show them, it seems to most people looking on the outside, that they show them absolutely no acknowledgement, none. Yet I have these Israelites from certain tribes of Africa that I've been staying in contact with for years now, not so much this year as I used to, that actually have told me that their feelings are hurt because they look up to the Israelites in America, and they say when they see particular groups on the corners, they wonder how they put all of them under a certain category and actually active though. See, this is the thing. I'm going to save it for next week. But I just want to say to everybody listening, when you get a chance, go research the Hebrews in Africa. And you will be surprised when you find out where they are and who they are. And yes, a lot of them come over here, are able to get over here in America today. And these people you automatically assume are quote-unquote Hamite. And when you get to listening to these people's stories, and you can pull the clips up in newspaper articles, these brothers and sisters have been through some real atrocities over there in that land. I mean, that rivals the things that we went through over here, if y'all catch my drift. I mean, they have been persecuted in that land by people with the same skin color as them, just due to the fact of them, because there has been integration over there. You would be naive not to think that. But a lot of them I've talked to personally has always been isolated groups. Like they've always distinctively separated themselves through certain customs and traditions, so it makes them easy targets. You can look at the Igbos in Africa, who almost in Nigeria, who almost got eradicated. I mean eradicated just about 30 years ago. You know, my elders and them talk about it all the time. If it wasn't even that long, they almost exterminated the Igbos over there. You know what I mean? And this was black on black. So if you over here in America and you trying to tell them you more of an Israelite than they are, yet they got the oral history that go back thousands of years, you sound like a fool. So next week, I'm going to make sure I have Yeshaya on here, probably G-Con, any other brothers who want to tap into this, and I'm going to have some brothers that come from that end, and I'm not going to do it like they do on the nigger shows, where everybody just get up there and start arguing. I want y'all to actually ask these brothers questions and dialogue back and forth and see how we can come to some understanding about this, because I've had there's particular brothers from those camps that do not agree with the approach that them brothers standing on the corner do. I've heard them say it out their mouth. They say we know it's tribes in Africa, Asia, the whole nine, and they know them by name. So they need to come out and say that public so people will stop thinking, because it make us look stupid if you think all them tribes just came over here. I mean, so with that being said, I'm gonna get to this second issue. Now, it was something from my perspective, like I said, I big ups to the brother Tazaria, even though, you know, even with the things that we disagree on, for standing up for what he feel is his brother and checking somebody that's always running their mouth, and cats that's always trying to pick on somebody they think that's the weaker link, because don't nobody like that. Because I'm gonna tell you, That Ron Divine prospect, people talking about putting their hands on them, they had a lot of people infuriated. You know what I'm saying? That you would just pick, because it's like you intentionally picking on somebody who you think that you have an advantage over. And even though that might not be true, like I said, Ron Divine prospect might know 19 forms of martial arts. He might foot slap you for an hour, but that's not the point. You think you got an advantage. So on the second part, I want to bring up, it's good G-Con came on here, Alvin, right on time. Is it was something Tazariak said, and when that brother get a chance, I'm definitely going to invite him on here if he's willing, that he can say his part and all those type of things. But it was something that stood out to me. I'm going to say this and open y'all up. Me, myself, none of us on this panel right now all believe totally in the exact same thing. And what I mean by that is we all agree on the majority of the biblical text. For the most part, we agree who we are in history. But there's certain differences that we have, but we never let those differences get us to the point where we're at each other or we exclude one another. So it's this one thing that the brother Tazariak said, and I'm not just putting this all on you, Tazariak, if you're watching. It's a lot of brothers who say this, and it's the problem. When you say, somebody mute your phone, somebody mute your phone. I'm gonna unmute y'all in 1 second. Everybody mute your phone. Yeah, it was this one thing that he said that stood out to me, and it really rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm gonna tell you why. With the little African boy, the little 14-year-old African boy, wanted to come to the barbecue. And the brother told him, you know, once he found out he was a quote-unquote African, that he didn't know he wouldn't invite him to the barbecue, right? Now, if that's your doctrine, we understand their doctrine. You know, if you're not from the nation of Israel, you know, we not sojourning with you. You know how it go. You of a heathen nation. We're not breaking bread with you. You're not going to the kingdom. We all know this. I've been in this since the 90s, so I've heard them all. I'm very familiar with them. Also that you are the seed of your father. I agree with that. You are the seed of your father. And but here's the problem. When you say that such and such father, like Bob Marley, father is a Gentile or Edomite, for the term that they like to use, which I don't always agree on that, but a white man, let's say that. Bob Marley's father is a white man, therefore he's a heathen. So he wouldn't be able to come eat in the barbecue either, right? Okay, I don't have a problem with it. That's your belief. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's your outtake on it. He's not an Israel, so you ain't breaking bread with him. Now you know, and you say all these other people who have white fathers but may look black are of another nation, but yet when it came to the little African boy, you automatically just said that he was an African. Now, I don't want to bear false witness against the brother, and I definitely don't want to do that because I don't get down like that. But I never heard, and I could be wrong, somebody correct me, I never heard him, since it's so important to you, I never heard the brother ask him who his father's genealogy was. I mean, I never heard him ask him, we don't know, that little quote-unquote African father could have been from the Ibu tribe, which I know to be Israelites. Could have been from the Lemba tribe, which I know to be Israelites. Could have been from the one of the other many Bantu tribes, the Falashas. Could have been which I know are not converts. That's a whole nother argument because they're not converts. You got to know the history on the Falashas. I know them close and personal. I mean, there's number Yoruba. There's number of tribes that we can get into that we know are of ancient Israelite ancestry. So how is it that you automatically assume that he a Hamite because he from Africa when we're Israelites who are in America? So they could look at us and say, man, y'all some Americans. Y'all ain't no damn Israelites. You know what I'm saying? There's Israelites in Africa. In Asia. There's Israelites in Europe. Especially the UK. They all up through there. And so what I'm saying is that makes your doctrine look extremely flawed, as though you just have something against the continent of Africa itself. Not even just the people, not even a particular people, but the entire continent. That right there has to be cleared up because it looks extremely, I would say it looks silly, man. All the years and decades, centuries that we spent in Africa, and blood that we shedded in Africa, how in the world could you automatically assume that this little African boy is a Hamite and not a Shemite? And I say this one more thing, and I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna let Kashu go first because his phone been falling out, and he didn't get a chance to respond to the whole conscious community slapping thing. And yeah, you know, if you look from my research over the years, I would say, and I'm giving a guesstimate, around 20% of the Africans, quote unquote, or people that live on the landmass of Africa is from Shemitic bloodlines, in particular Hebrew Israelites, which would make them our direct kinfolks in our bloodline. Now, 20% is not a large number, but in comparison to the size of Africa, which is the largest continent, it's huge. I'll put it like that. That 20% is a lot of people. That's millions upon millions. That means our people over there. If you want to be into that whole separatist thing, because you know with me, if you worship the God of Israel, I don't really care who you are, to be quite honest with you. If you're wicked, you're wicked. If you're righteous, you're righteous. But just for argument's sake, I know how these brothers think because I've been friends with a lot of these brothers from the more militant camps, as we call them, throughout the years, for decades now, before it was a Facebook. So with that being said, I would like my brother Kashu, I'm gonna give you a little extra time because you dropped out and wasn't able to speak on the whole slapping Ron Divine. I played the clip of Inky threatening to slap him. I played the clip of Polite talking about beating up I think the brother named Contazar, and then I played the clip of Tazariak basically punking him out, getting in front of him and telling him you didn't say that to me, and basically called his wife a whore, or basically said he pranced around like a whore, because I remember that on the debate thing. And basically the man choked up. He looked terrified, and you know I heard him poop. He passed gas. He farted loud because he got scared. He thought he was about to get beat up. So I want you to go ahead. I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes, brother. Spend about 2, if you can, 2.5 on the first conscious community, threatening people and all that first. I dropped some precepts to it too. And then I want you to open up with your feelings about the whole thinking that there's no Israelites left in Africa no more. Okay, brother, go ahead.
Shalom, can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Shalom, brother. What's going on with you, bro? Moray, what's happening with you, Moray?
Shalom. Shalom. I'm trying to keep the phone steady. How's everybody doing?
We good, brother.
Okay. Giving honor and praise to the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. You never approach anybody as this dude did and say, yo, put your hands up, step over here. First off, most people who's about drama and beef, to use that terminology, they usually approach you. You understand? And then they'll step over the line if they about it. I'm not familiar with the guy's name, but there was a basketball player, and him in the audience, or him in the crowd that's in the audience, had words. And the guy winded up stepping up into the bleachers or into the stands where the audience was, or where the fans was at. Now, that person, what he did was
Ron Artest. That was Jermaine O'Neal and Ron Artest.
Now, that wasn't a wise thing to do. At the same token, he was about that. You understand? He's about that life. You understand? And there are people who are in this world who are about that. So to sit there and just try to come out, you know, as if, you know, oh, I'm going to just say this about your man, your peoples, and everything's just supposed to be all right because, you know, you're in the Bible. Nah. The Bible starts off, if you look at the Bible, for instance, Samuel killed a man, Moses killed a man. You understand what I'm saying? We're talking about Jacob is saying that he killed the man for something. And now you got laws in the Bible like thou shalt not murder. And in the book of Numbers, if you murder a man and you flee to one of the cities of refuge, you'll bring that man out and slay him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the people in the Bible, to put it in street terms, Not all of them, but some of them was just as gully as anybody else could be in the world. When you go into the book of Hosea, it says there's no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land, but swearing and lying and murdering and stealing and committing adultery, and blood touches blood. We're talking the 8th century BCE. We're not talking 1990, the Bronx, South Jamaica, New York. We're not talking the South Side, Chicago, Miami, DC, LA, Bloods and Crips. We're talking about the land of Jerusalem, the land of Gilgal, the land of Beersheba, the land of Kadesh, and the land of Laish, and the land of Mahanaim. This is what we're talking about, where these people was gully and getting at people like that Hosea was dealing with. You understand? Isaiah says, how doth the faithful city that was full of righteousness, but now murderers lodged within her? We're talking, as stated, the 8th century BCE, when Assyria was coming up. And one of the things that the Most High said about Assyria coming up is because I sent Assyria against an ungodly nation that does not take heed to my laws, my statutes, and my commandments. In the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, it tells you you should not follow a multitude to do evil. You understand? It says, cursed be he who taketh a bribe to slay an innocent person. These things are not words on a page. These things are reality, man. You understand? There was a guy that was in Brooklyn, New York. He got killed back in like 1987. He called himself 50 Cent. This dude robbed LL Cool J. This dude robbed the rapper Houdini. He robbed the rapper Rakim. And my point is that I'm like coming out of New York, when you talk about him in Brooklyn, it's like, yo, man, they estimate about 30 people he put to death. And a lot of white boys, they used him in college. When you speak about racial matters, they were like, what about the original 50 Cent? He was a black serial killer. And they used that as a catalyst to say Ted Bundy couldn't have been that bad, because you have black guys doing it to black guys. My point in saying that, you understand, is emphatically basically to get into the point is there are some people that's just about it. I'm not going to say that the light-skinned brother that was with ISUPK out there is a punk, like people was trying to sit up there and say. Because if you watch the video carefully, the brother Tazariak walked ahead of him. And then Tazariak grabbed the mic. That other light-skinned brother, he stayed where he was at. And then as Tazariak was talking, the other brother walked further back and talked to the other brother that was there. That was the original reader. So if you watch it meticulously, you will see that. Now, anybody who's about it, you can't sit there and step up to a man with his friends and say, yo, I'm gonna tell you, boy, put your hands up, and then expect everything to just be okay. No. And then if you do that, like the light-skinned brother said, you will sit there and try to debate somebody even physically, because only a coward would think that will want to sit there and challenge somebody that he know he can beat. The Bible, or the Apocrypha, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. One of the books, I don't know which part. Sorry about that. It says, as gold is tried in a furnace, so is acceptable men in the face of adversity. So you can't sit there and pick on and keep on doing the same exact thing and expect a better result. You want those biceps and those cuts and rips, as they say in muscular tone, you got to sit there and go in and put the pain in. You got to sit there and go and put the extra work in. You can't sit there and do the same exact jumping jacks and expect to get cut up and toned the way you want to see other people to see you as. You understand? So you got to put the work in to put that in. So the fact that you're not able to put it in, that shows you that you are a coward. You are a female dog. You understand? And you are a person who has a lack of understanding. Because there's no, and I think Duke is an agent. Because anytime a black man can sit there and say, yo, I said come ahead and put your hands up, and everything like that, if that person, heaven forbid, is under temporary insanity, which is a legal term in America, and that man beat you half to death in New York City, that man does not go to jail, you know. I don't know about Illinois or Michigan or California, where other brothers on the panel might be calling from, but in the state of New York, if you can prove and say I had temporary insanity and he threatened my life and the life of my friend, you can sit there and be acquitted. So to sit there and come out people like that, you out of pocket. So that's what I say about that. Now, the Bible and Isaiah, right? Okay, let's start.
Hold up. Before you do that, this is what I'm gonna do to be fair to the panel. This is how I'm gonna do it, and that was great. Great opening, man. You touched on some real points. This thing, basically what you just said is this thing is real in the field. So if you're not built like that, please don't play like that. And yes, we are Bible believers. Yes, we do believe in the biblical text, the Torah, the Tanakh, the whole nine. We believe in it with our heart. So we know if we follow this, our life will be better than everybody else's and our destination to be better. But at the same time, like you said, a lot of our ancestors in that book was killers. They was killers. That's why God had to tell us thou shalt not murder, because it may just happen. You step on the wrong cat toes the wrong way back then. Like I said, the Levites, who was the main, we were all a nation of priests, but the priests and the high priests, when we went to war, they was in the front. So I don't know where you got that from, where they got this from, that you a priest and you soft. So that's what I'm going to do to be fair. I'm going to give everybody their chance that didn't. G-Con and my brother Alvin, I'm going to let G-Con, he the only one, him and Alvin, that have not spoke on the whole conscious community, threatening, beef, and all that type of stuff. I want y'all outtake on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to open up about the second segment about the whole tribes in Africa and you know Asia and all that. But I'm specifically focusing on Africa because this assumption that it seems to the outside some brothers have that if you a black African, you automatically a Hamite. And you know, with the little 14-year-old boy, they didn't know if his daddy was Ibu or none of that type of stuff. So we're gonna deal with that part second. So I'm gonna give G-Con his chance first, and then Alvin, and then I'm gonna intersect, and then we're gonna go to the second part, and then we'll probably have about 30, you know, give 30 minutes for that, and then we're gonna close out. So G-Con, what's your whole outtake on this? We supposed to be the quote unquote conscious community. We supposed to be lifting our people up with knowledge. Yet when it get down to nitty gritty, brothers start showing they nigga coon stuff on the corner and basically acting like they want to go there and gang bang. And it's people that really take this serious and they take it as if it's a joke. So I want to know, what's your outtake on that? Try not to drop no F-bombs and stuff like that.
The whole situation, I think that.
And just real quick for the people's edification, the reference that Kashob gave is in the Apocrypha. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 2. Go ahead, G-Con.
All right, first off, I just want to say all praise is due to the Most High, the Supreme Intellect. I just want to, and peace to everybody on the panel just as well and those that's listening in. You know, I think that, you know, we have to, we can't be so passive with these people. We got to know who we dealing with, you know, and the first thing, especially if you know already that you got a temper, it's certain people you can't be dealing with. You know, I'm pushing 34 years old next month, right. And as I don't really have the tolerance for the bull crap. Y'all know, you know, I get to snapping out, you know, for the most part, but if I was, you know, face to face with some of them people, I'd be ready to actually do something to them, you know, get real physical with them. So I have to, you know, be careful because certain things they overstep their boundaries, and when you overstep your boundaries, then you know there it is. And I think that when you deal with the information, I mean, when you look at how Inky did with Divine Ron Prospect, I think that, you know, it's because Divine Ron Prospect is a cool dude, you know what I'm saying? And I think for the most part he's real passive, and he's you know, he's a gentleman, you know what I'm saying, before anything. So I think that because they take him as being a gentleman, you know, they want to try to overstep his boundaries and play on his kindness, basically. You know, but I'm gonna tell you like this, you got to be very careful with that, because, you know, I really don't really get along with a lot of those brothers, but for the most part, I will get up on the uproar real quick when it comes to something like that. You know, because them brothers, they stand and they deal with the biblical text, and I'm not really fully delivered in that area to where I won't really, I will, you know, I will try to put my hands on you physically, for real. So I had to, you know, just jump back and I look at the scene. But, you know, like Tazariak said, you know, you step over that line, then, it's gonna be some problems, and I definitely agree with him on that. Whatever the case may be, I don't really deal with Tazariak them like that, but I feel them where they coming from, and I think that when it comes to this dealing with these things, you have to keep it dealing with the information rather
Right.
than getting personal and saying that you're going to smack somebody. Because if
Right.
you're going to smack somebody, especially somebody who we see as well respected in the community, then not only are you going to have to smack him, you're going to have to smack the people that's standing behind him.
Right.
And I think that's something that, and one thing I always say, a lot of these Hebrew Israelites, they some big dudes, and a lot of these dudes that came, yeah, these dudes that came out from the they wasn't always handling this Bible, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta realize that, and a lot of people, a lot of them ain't really fully delivered in that area to where they won't reach out and touch you or put their hands on you. So that's my
True.
take on it, man. And that's why I try to, yeah, I didn't spazzed out, and I didn't got real unholy with my tongue, and when it came to these brothers, man, and really, when you dealing with people like me personally, I'm the type of dude to where if you say something crazy to me, we can get on the flight. I'll book my flight right then and there, and we can meet up somewhere, because that's how I feel. Especially when you got a lot of anger and a lot of build up. You've been oppressed out here, so you got a lot of build up in you, and then you come in your neighborhood and you see people acting crazy, and all that stuff is build up. So there's no tolerance for no foolishness, especially when you got people trying to tell people to walk opposite of the morality what we dealing with in the biblical text. So it kind of make you mad a little bit, and it make you a little bit impatient, and it makes your temperance real shallow. So I just that's my take on it, man. And I just wanted to bring that out, man. You can't be out here making these little threats, because you got people that's gonna keep you up on
Yeah.
that, and and deal with that.
For sure, for sure. And that was a good point, a good outtake you put on that. That's true, man. A lot of us ain't been we not trained in being humble yet. I'm still trying to learn to be humble, and I've been in the word for a long time. As it relates to my age, I've been in the word for quite some time, and it's still, like I say, when I seen that brother say he smack Ron Divine Prospect, my blood started boiling. You know what I mean? Man, like you said, man, a lot of us, we come from the hood, man. I'm from the shop. You know what I'm saying? And our OGs taught us, man, if somebody even look threatening, don't even give them a chance to get a ups. Don't do all that running your mouth, hit them in their jaw. Let it be what it is. So I could tell a lot of these cats don't come up like that. They do a lot of talking and all that type of stuff, but that talking gonna get them in trouble. And I think that's the moral of what you saying. Them threats, man. The scriptures tell us, boy, every idle word come out your mouth, you're gonna be held accountable for it. That tongue is a dangerous weapon, boy. Go back and read the book of Job and Proverbs. They say a lot about that tongue. It's the smallest muscle on your body, but it can cause the most pain, physically and mentally. With that being said, I got to hear my brother Alvin's outtake. Shalom to my brother Alvin, the director. Everybody else mute their mics. I want your outtake on the whole conscious community. Hebrew wanting to bang. People want to talk about getting physical. What's your outtake on that, brother? Then we going to get to the next subject, close out.
Man, in the words of Drake, dated 2015 AD, trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers. And that's the basis of all these people talking trash. It's like the problem with social media is that it didn't exist back in the day. If you said something about somebody, it either got word back to them by somebody saying you said it, and you could just deny it, or you said it to their face. But now you can sit behind the comfort of a keyboard and just say whatever the hell you want to say. No consequences. You don't got to worry about getting smacked, because the person you talking to is all the way across the country. And to me, it's just weak. We talking about history. We talking about religion. You know, we're talking about scholastic stuff, and you got brothers talking about, man, I'll slap you. It's just weak. Now, here's the thing with me, man. Now, Mikha'EL, you from Chicago. You already know how it is out here. You can't just be walking around talking trash.
Right.
Because you talking about somebody's mama, they end up getting you a reservation at the nearest funeral home.
Right.
You know, you just can't be, although a lot of people do that out here, and that's where they end up at, but you just can't be going around talking like that. And why would you want to go around talking like that anyway? So when it comes to people just talking trash and stuff, to me, I feel it's a sign of weakness. You know, now people, and here's the thing, people often accuse me of not taking stuff seriously. Like, Alvin, you always laughing, you always joking, you know, whatever, blah, 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 because I just find it comical for people to talk so much trash via internet. I'm sorry, like, if you're talking about how you're going to slap me and how you're going to do all this stuff to me, and you're thousands of miles away, I find that comical. I'm sorry. That's comical to me, for you even to do that. But here's the problem, Mikha'EL. I guarantee you, every single time anybody has talked trash to me via Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, internet, when I see them in person, yo, Al, what up, man? Yo, you crazy, man. Yo, what up, Al? Like, it's all a joke. You see what I'm saying? Now, I thank the Lord Most High that He's blessed me to have a decent temperament. I used to take that for granted, but I thank Him every day that He gave me that. You know what I'm saying? But these brothers out here, man, sometimes I just feel that we grew up in a different world where there was actually consequences. You know? Oh snap! Hold on. Hey, hold on, Joe.
Y'all cool? Somebody at the club? Okay, go ahead, bro.
Nah, man, I was editing this video, man. That thing popped up. But yeah, I ain't want to go on too long. But nah, man, it's just I mean, just keep it on wax. Like, I hate using rap terms and stuff, but
Right.
yo, just keep it on the books, man. You know.
Right.
I'm gonna shut up for now though, but because I really want to get into that second part you about to go into, because I got some. I just want to debunk a couple of things, so I'm gonna mute my mic, bro.
I want to say something before you go in that part though, big bro.
Okay, cool. You said what, Yeshaya?
I just want to say something before you go into that other part, man. Just real quick.
You talking about the tribes in Africa?
Nah, I'm talking about what we talking about right here. This subject. I just wanted to add on something, man. Something personal. But I do want to shout out. I do want to shout out my sister too, man. Kalila Abiyan. Shout out to you, cause she watching and everything now too. And trust me, people is definitely watching. The con artist community is fake. They fraudulent. Platinum. Very weak individuals. And the reason why I say that is because all they do is act just like niggas. They use information and knowledge because they feel like it makes them supreme. That's basically what it is. You can see it through their arrogance. There's nothing humble about them, brothers. That's an act. You know what I'm saying? Two skinny niggas sitting on the couch talking about they gonna smack another skinny dude. Like it's like, come on, man, let's be serious, man. Like, I could never show anybody like them respect. You know what I'm saying? Even if I think them in person or they think this video, it's not like I got anything to gain by saying that. This is what I personally feel, because there's too many games being played, and even though those false Israelites out there that will be dealt with, they're more realer than y'all. They're more realer than the conscious community. You know what I'm saying? Because they do stick by their word. It's niggas like them that want to play these psychological games, ask mad questions, try to catch you up, and try to give you a prognosis of your mentality, and he's this stupid stuff. Let's stop them games, man. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is using that conscious mess. Niggas is using that comedic mess. They're using that Horus mess to keep acting like niggas, keep smoking their weed, keep screwing their women, keep being whores, keep marketing, getting money, look cool, keep their hats on somebody, can see their hairline. That's what these niggas is doing. It's just to build them up and to make them feel like they somebody because they come out of some streets or some projects in Brooklyn, DA, Chicago. It don't matter. They come from a lifestyle that really wasn't worth nothing, and if it was worth something, they jump in this because they feel like they can capitalize on people's intelligence. That's not even on their level of intelligence. That's what that is, man. It's a facade. So, you know what I'm saying? Just gonna keep it G with that. Like, my personal feeling.
Wow. Hey, well, I ain't mad at you for that, brother. Thank you for that insertion because that's some real talk right there. You know, I do believe. Get out, stupid cat. Get out. Yeah. So you know, that's one thing that's been obvious to me. That last part you said, how the difference is they can grasp on a Horus and Isis or Aset or Haru, whatever you want to call them, Amun and Ra and all these things, right? But it seems as though a lot of them that do that, and I'm not speaking for all, they don't have a personal responsibility for consequences. Our biblical texts teach us it's a consequence for everything we do, and it puts emphasis on how we should treat our brother, especially in a time of discourse. So that's one reason they don't like the Bible when they can't deal with it. It ain't got nothing to do with the white man gave it to us, the slavery and all that nonsense. It got to do with the fact the Bible makes you be held accountable for everything that you do. And with them, you can say you got all the knowledge. It was original, the stars and the Medunetta and all this Mayat and all that stuff. Even Mayat give you some principles, but they don't seem to follow them. So they hypocritical anyway. So basically they what you would call charlatans. That's what the Catholic Church would have called them. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so that's the thing. They don't want to be held to a responsibility. With the Bible and with brothers who in the Islam with the Quran, I would say them books hold you responsible for your verbal, spiritual, and physical behavior in this hemisphere. So that being said, I thank everybody for their outtake on the first part, and on this last part right here, we're gonna try to milk this for about a half hour. But I know y'all got some information y'all want to bring, so it might have to go a little bit longer than that because we're looking around probably about a 3-hour show now if we get to 6. But I don't want to cheat nobody because I know the cats that's on here all have some good information on dealing with these tribes. So I want to keep it kind of decent in their order because I know some of us can be long-winded, and I don't want to take everybody on a whole long thing. But we want to specifically deal with if, and you don't have to even agree with it, but if you believe that the national seed comes through the Father, how can you assume that somebody from Africa automatically is a Hamite with all the historical evidence we have of, matter of fact, a lot of the reasons that the Negroes in America found out they was Israelites was because they researched or linked up with somebody from Africa, let's keep it 100, who just happened to be from the same tribe or similar tribe that we gravitated to as us that was sold over here. And if you do the research, that's really how the Israelites in America got waking up to them being Israelites. So with that being said, I like to go back in the order that I said I was gonna do, and I want to start with the brother Jen. You got something to say about this subject of assuming somebody in Africa is automatically a Hamite?
Yeah, I have a, well, this is my outtake on it. The word scattered.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good. Stay outside. We hear you clear.
Yeah, the word scattered. When you look at that word scattered, the Most High scattered, and He scattered for a reason. Now, what we do as men as human beings, we call ourselves gonna put it back together. And scattered to me by, I put it like this: what God do is what God do. We are not God, you know. So we cannot say that this person is that person and that person is this person. We cannot do that because the Bible, the scriptures specifically use the word scattered. Now, if it says that somebody gonna put the tribes back together, I'm pretty sure the scriptures would have read that, but it don't read that nowhere. I can't find it nowhere in the scriptures that said these people are gonna come and they're gonna put Israel back together. Now, we could talk about liberation, we could talk about salvation and all that, but scattered is scattered. Now, if somebody could make some sense out of that to me, that all the Israelites came west, then show me that in the scripture, show me that in history that all the Israelites came west when it says scattered, four corners scattered, you know. So that's my outlook on it. Then I have, you know, I got a lot of friends from West Africa and from South Africa, and they, a lot of them grew up coming over here. They was Christian, or some of them even consider themselves the real Jews or what have you. You know, that's like the first time I heard the term black Jews was probably maybe about 20 years ago. We the real Jews. Those Jews, they ain't real Jews. We the real Israelites. And these brothers coming from Africa saying this stuff. They come specifically. They came from Nigeria. They had been over here maybe like 10 years or something like that. You know, before I met them. You know, so when I dig into the scriptures, I just see that word scattered, and then when I see some people say this is the tribe, these people come from here, and Native American, and Indian, and then I'm like, come on, man, you can't be the Most High, you can't be the second coming, you know. So that's how I look at it.
Okay, cool, brother. On this last segment, you can control your own mute. Just, you know, for conversation clarity, you know, keep it muted if you got like some noise in the background. But other than that, you can keep it on mute because I'm gonna let people be able to jump in. I'm about to let everybody do their opening insertion. Then after that, you can just have a straight conversation with one another until, you know, I get a cue or my sim gives a cue to get ready to close out. I'll put it on those side messages when we get to about the last 5 minutes. So next, I like to get that exact same outtake, because I know this brother got something to say. You shouldn't have brought up Nigeria. I know he about to run straight to the Ebus. So I want to take this to I'm gonna go to one of my two more the long-winded ones, Yeshaya and Kashu. So I want to start with my brother. Since you went later, Yeshaya. Although I know Yeshaya got something about the Ebus right on deck, but I'm gonna let Kashu go first. Kashu, the historian Danite, this right up your alley, bro. You know, this what me and you do. This what Yeshaya do. You know what I'm saying? It's this history of these tribes and where they at. Brother, could you please explain, if you agree, could you explain why some Israelites make the assumption that all quote-unquote Africans are Hamites? Or if you disagree, can you please show why that is pure not accurate? Go ahead, brother.
Teach, brother Kashu, teach.
Okay, Shalom. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
We hear you good. Try not to keep it over 5 minutes in the opening, because I'm after I let everybody get their chance, I'm just gonna open y'all all up and y'all can just talk. So go ahead and just come straight out with it. Just come straight.
All right. The children of Israel, they were noted prior to even their great existence. Abraham went to Egypt. Abraham came from Ur, Chaldea. When Joseph, he was a viceroy in the land of Egypt. Now, the time when Jacob sired his children, there were 13 Israelites, 12 males, 1 female. So the people that Joseph were feeding were indigenous, Hamitic, Kemetic, African, Egyptian people. So to say that you will not feed a person because he's not an Israelite, providing that that young brother was not an Israelite, let's just say he's not. Joseph was noted. The book of Psalms says the Most High sent a man before them. And then what did Joseph say? Like, listen, don't worry that y'all brought me here for evil. The Most High meant it for good. You understand? To even save many alive. So if we're following the footsteps of our ancestors, the righteous ones, there's no way that you're going to sit there and biblically prove that even if a person is a lineal Hamite, that I'm not going to feed you, when Joseph was used to sit there and feed people who without a doubt were Hamites, because there were only 13 Israelites. So let that be known. That right there, scratch that right there. Secondly, the other thing is that Israel is supposed to be a light to the nations. Now, we teach among us who are Tanakh based, in Isaiah 40, it says the Most High have laid upon Israel double for all her sins. Double because you did wrong. Two, you led the nations wrong by not teaching them to do the right thing in action. So therefore, we have to sit back and see that once it comes right down into it, you can't sit there and say, oh, this person is not this and this person is not that. That's the moral aspect. Now, let's get into the historical aspect. The Igbo people, and I met them, let's go there, in New York, in Queens. When we're talking about Queens, you're talking about Suffolk and Archer. For those familiar who's listening, in New York City, you take the E train, you take the J train, and you get off at the stop that's after Jamaica Van Wyck and right before Parsons. When you go upstairs, you see the Long Island Railroad and the air train that takes you to JFK Kennedy Airport. Okay, so I'm getting to a very specific place. I have the guy's number on my telephone. I'm not going to expose his number, but I will say this. I said, so where you from, brother? Because I'm going to be candid. I was trying to make conversation with him because I wanted to pay a lower amount in the cab fare. So I was trying to engage in conversation to see how it can go, which I wound up giving a man a tip of $1, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is, as we were conversing, I was saying, so where you from? He said, I'm from Nigeria. I said, oh, so what tribe? You Igbo? You Yoruba? I Igbo. I said, okay. So I said, let me just ask without letting him see my fringes. Let me just ask him and see what he might say. I said, let me ask you a question. Where did the Igbo people come from? We're Hebrew. We are Hebrew. The man said it as if I'm not my hand up to heaven. The man said it like, yeah, that's what it is. This who we are. This now 2015. The year I'm talking about now is 2013, 2012-ish, around then. I still got the guy's number. So my point is this. What I'm saying is the Igbo people who are in Nigeria are related to the Ewe people who are related indirectly to the Ibibio people. These are people out of Nigeria that was taken during the Atlantic slave trade over to Jamaica. Now, when they got to Barbados first, because they used to break the slaves there and then take them to Jamaica. When they got to Jamaica, the English was the people who took over Jamaica in the year 1655 when the Spanish had it from 1509. Let's get some history together. When the Spanish was first taking our people from the Dahomey, the English decided to say, no, we want to take the Igbos over to Jamaica. So now, after they broke them off inside of Jamaica, you got two main African tribes in that particular island. Dahomey, Ashanti, as well as Igbo, three main tribes. Now, Ashan in Hebrew means smoke. Ashanti, I smoked. So therefore, now when you go to Joshua, the Bible, chapter 15, Ashan is one of the cities of Judah. T in the street language of the Ashanti means people of. So we have to begin then know and see exactly what we're talking about. So when you say there's no way that these people could have been, or a person could have been a particular nation or tribe is another thing. On a side note, I think it's tacky that Sarnetta will bring a little kid to talk to a grown man. I don't know where that young man's parents is at. Ain't no way in the world I'm going to have my 14-year-old child. I'm 35. I could have been that young man's father. You are not allowed to go and talk to no grown man on no internet. You need to get your behind up in here and study or do your chores. That's just my take. But on the other end, once it comes right down to it, if you're saying, you have to sit there and ask a person their pedigree if you sit there and care to go into that. So it's never wise to sit there and say that. Now, a lot of the people who are from Africa, the continent, that are Israelites, were saying, you know what, I don't want to eat at your barbecue. I don't want to eat that food. You're cooking on the Shabbat. You're not supposed to be doing that anyway. And so a lot of people were bringing up those kind of things in light of certain aspects. So y'all can keep on eating that dead flesh, and I'm going to keep on going back to my original roots. Oh, that's right, where I got my home and my hut. Right, and you got the projects and all of them. Okay, this is what I've been reading in New York. So it got kind of funky and nasty once it came down to that. So now, the people, the majority of the people that was shipped over to the Western Hemisphere all went first through the West Indies. The out of 100 slave ships, there was only less than 15 out of 100 that made to the continent or to the United States. That is to say, from Florida to Connecticut. You understand? Everywhere else was in the islands. And if you trace the people's history within the island, you will find out they come from Ashanti, Igbo, Ewe, Comm, Mandingo, so forth and so on. And many of them, when you study their history, for instance, a reference book is entitled A History of West Africa by Basil Davidson. He sits there and speaks about these people they claim to come from somewhere else. In New York City, there is a group of African brothers or brothers from Africa, and they are in Canal Street. That's where some of them sell jewelry at. They from the Fulani. And I spoke to them when I used to work over by Lispenard Street, which is about 8 blocks from where the World Trade Center used to be. So I said, so where you from? Oh, I'm from Senegal. I said, oh, okay, so where you people from? We migrated from a faraway place, and he was trying to get me to sell, and I was trying to lower the price. So we're engaging each other. We both know what we're doing. You understand what I'm saying? Because I used to wear a lot of jewelry back then, a lot of silver. So he's trying to get me to sell, and I'm making convo with him so we can sit there and build upon each other's understanding and money. Now, he sat there and said, oh, well, we come from, some people say the land of Israel, that's in the Bible, but I'm a Muslim. Those were his words, man. So he's saying that he practices Islam, but he's saying that his people say that they come from the land of Israel, because there are many Muslims in the continent of Africa that know that they migrated to there from other places. Yoruba stated they migrated from somewhere else.
Yeah.
The Igbo say they migrated from somewhere else. Now, Northern Africa, for those who are familiar with it, we already went over Titus bringing Israelites from Jerusalem, from Rome back into the land of Africa when Rome began to sit there and, or should I say, when the Flavian line of those people began to fall. A lot of them were sent to Africa because in the year 139, they used to sit there and send the Israelites that was in Italy back to Northern Africa. When you study a book entitled The Negro College Library, Heritage Library of the Negro People, it will tell you that many of the people
you starting to break up. Hey, Yeshaya, Moray Yeshaya, Kashu. Can you hear me, Ah?
Yeah, I hear you. Am I still breaking up?
Nah, you cool. Now go ahead. We heard most of what you said. You started sounding like RoboCop, but go ahead.
Sorry. So what I'm saying is that when you get into it, many of the people that lay claim to have come in out of Africa, even though many of them practice Islam, I've been actually told from the people in New York, like, yeah, they say we come out of Israel, but I'm a Muslim, and he was dead set about his faith, you may say. Now, to repeat very quickly what I had stated, is the fact that you have it to where many of the tribes, such as the Igbo, the Arikam, the Eri, the Mandingo, the Hausa, and so forth and so on, a lot of them lay claim to being of the people of the house of Israel that was scattered into there. And when you talk to them, they will sit there and say, a lot of black Americans will sit there and say that we are actually people of him, but we're not. They got to sit there and know the difference. The pathetic, the weak, and the asinine excuse that some Israelites give, oh, you look different than I do. Are you serious? You just read in Jeremiah, it says Israel's a speckled bird. You can't be serious sitting up there talking that. Oh, you look different than I. And then the description given of King David in Josephus is that he was of a yellow complexion. And then when you sit there and see the pictures that they have of the Israelites in the catacombs, they pitch black. So the point I'm saying is you can't sit there and try to go by that as a catalyst and as an analysis. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty strong man weak argument. So I'm gonna conclude with that and move on. Shalom.
Man, shalom. Woo! As usual, boy.
That was powerful. Powerful.
He be bringing some heat, man. Don't he, by some? He be bringing some, and he don't soften his tongue at all, man. He just threw about 5 daggers out there. I should have wrote them down, because I wanted to respond to a couple of them before I let Yeshaya jump in here and then Alvin. But and of course you could say something too, Basa. I already told you, the co-host. I know how you is. You like to stay behind the scenes, but I gotta say.
I just wanted to tell you to make sure to get Yeshaya and Alvin in pretty soon with their comments, because I'm not exactly sure how long I set the show for to run on the Hangouts, but I know
Okay.
at least got another half hour, but I'm not sure how much after that. But go ahead, bro.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but it was a couple of daggers he threw out there. The one about cooking on Shabbat, that's off the chain. I'll let y'all deal with that one. That was hilarious. But
Yo,
yeah, like the things with like you were saying, with the like Ashanti tribe. I always bring that up because I found out I may be Ashanti, and it means people of Ashan, one of the five suburbs of Jerusalem. And it's certain things you just can't deny. You know what I'm saying? And the whole thing with how you said because we got a lot of Ebus in Chicago, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, the ones that know, because you gotta understand, Israel is blind in part. It's some people that are from those tribes who do not know that they're Israel. As impossible as that seems to you, it is. Within the Ebu, you have different types of Ebus, and like one Ebu, all of their stuff is pagan. They got a god named Aduduwa. And he had a brother, and it's kind of like the African version of Greek mythology. But when you ask them what you say, most of them, their lineage, like the Israelites over in Timbuktu, they all Islam. They'll tell you, they say we was converted to Islam, but we are originally Judeans. We are the original people of Judea. So that's that. But like you said, we don't know how much time we got left, so I want to make sure everybody get their part in. We got two people left, Yeshaya and Alvin. So Yeshaya, I ain't gonna rush you, but just try to bring some nice good facts when you can do it in a nice swift mode about dealing with Africa and Israelites. Go ahead, bro.
All right. This is from one of my archaeological group pages. Beta Israel, Ethiopia. The Beta Israel, also known as the Falasha, are Ethiopian Jews. Some members of the Beta Israel, as well as several Jewish scholars, believe that they are descendants from the lost tribe of Dan, as opposed to the traditional story of their descent from the Queen of Sheba. Then you got the Persian Jews. Persian Jews, especially the Bakuran Jews, claim descendants from the tribe of Ephraim. Persian Jews, also called Iranian Jews, are members of Jewish communities living in Iran and throughout the former greatest extent of the Persian Empire. Igbo Jews of Africa, the Igbo Jews of Nigeria claim this descent variously from the tribes of Ephraim, Naphtali, Manasseh, Levi, Zebulun, and Gad. So those are most majority of the tribes. So if somebody come out of that tribe, or somebody coming from Africa, it'd be dumb to sit up there and be like, I ain't even gonna ask you who your people's is first. I'm just gonna say, you say you African, yeah, I can't come, you can't eat my burger. I mean, I ain't even gonna keep going down the list because they all everywhere, basically over there. Let me go to the Limba tribe. From the southern African, they claim to be descendants from the lost tribe which fled from the modern Yemen and Jordan South. All right, the House of Israel in Ghana claims to be one of the lost tribes of Israel. The Pashtun people, ethnic Afghanistan, traditionally descended from the lost tribe. Chiang Maing people from northwest China claim to be descendants from Abraham. So the funny thing is this: the Puerto Rican, the Mexicans, and the people that look all white and pale and all that, they can come eat at the cookout. You ask them about their lineage, they tell you their daddy was a Mexican. But let's be serious, man. You talking about Africa, where all of the Israelites was extracted from in the slave trade. You get what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you don't even got to go through the archaeology. You don't even got to go through deep history. You break Torah. That's it. You break Torah. You know what I'm saying? Let's read that. Deuteronomy 23 and verses 8. It says, thou shalt not hate an Edomite or reject an Edomite, for he is your brother, right? Thou shalt not hate an Egyptian. Why are we not supposed to hate Egyptians or reject? Because that's what the word hate here is in context with. Reject. We're gonna see why, because the context is gonna let you know hate is dealing with reject. It says, because you were a stranger in his land. So the Most High, like, yo, y'all was flourishing there at first.
Right.
We're gonna bypass the slavery. We're gonna bypass all the BS that happened. You just remember that you was a stranger in that land. That's where you grew at. That's where you ate at. That's where you was nurtured at. All right, let's get that straight. That's what the Most High is saying. So let's keep going down. Right. It says the children of the third generation that are born unto them, Edomite and Egyptian, enter into the assembly of Yahuwah. So that, without a shadow of a doubt, questions that whole doctrine, that whole paradigm, that whole illogical, dumb, asinine, barbaric, no good flow through doctrine. It doesn't even matter if you're not from the tribe of Israel. He just said the third generation. When you, if you're a New Testament believer and you sitting up there telling me that Esau can't get in or no stinking African can't get in, then you might as well do some calculations, because from the time of David to the Messiah, they said that was 14 generations. This says 3. From the time of Deuteronomy to now, to 2015. So erroneous. Just clearly erroneous.
That's nasty. Okay. Like I said,
let me ask y'all a question.
Hey, let me but we on time constraint. Hold up, Jan. I'm finna just let all y'all talk, but I gotta get Alvin part in. But you're right. See, I was always taught that the Hebrews was a tribe of Gad. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, I didn't really learn about the tribe of Gad and America theory probably to about 2000. You know what I'm saying? But I've always understood the tribe of Gad was the Hebrews. And yeah, like you just brought up, woo, that was swift and nasty information. And I actually had some stuff I want to bring up on the Limba tribe. I got the information, but we don't know how long it's going to go. So we're going to do a freestyle after a minute. But I want to make sure I get Brother Alvin's outtake, because I know he's a historian too in his own right. You got any information or just opinion about the Israelites in Africa?
I'm going to just, what you say, land back off of what Yeshaya said. You know, we don't piggyback. You say, brother, dang, hold on.
Okay, it's clear now.
My bad, man. I'm editing this video. So look, check it out. Check it out, bro. What Yeshaya said was on point, man. And I'm just gonna bring it home. Okay, first off,
Which Yeshaya? Big Yeshaya or Lil Yeshaya?
Oh, Lil Yeshaya. Well, both of them. Shoot, both of them was on point. I mean, shoot. Okay. Look, I'm like this. First off, let's just go to the book, man. These people say they follow the book, but they really don't. Look. Let's see what the Most High looked at Africans as. Amos 9:7, man. Are you not like the Cushites to me, O people of Israel?
Yeah.
Declares the Lord.
Yeah.
He looks at the Cushites and the Israelites as the same.
Yeah.
And
that's physically and that's on a historical reason why he said that a situation where he gave them their empire. You know what I'm saying? But he actually is also talking about, because when he say like biblically, you know, that means look like.
Are you not as to me? Yeah. And also to even further point out that analogy, when you go to Tacitus, he says the majority of us think that the Jews were a race of Ethiopians.
Yeah.
That's what Tacitus said.
I've actually now we can open up everybody's mute. Hold on. Let Alvin get something else clear before y'all open up y'all mutes. Go ahead, brother.
I got two more things. So you got Tacitus backing up Isaiah 9:7. Okay? Now, worst case scenario. Okay, he an African. He not an Israelite. You go to Leviticus 19:33. Okay? When a stranger resides with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. The stranger who resides with you shall be to you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you are aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. If that kid wanted to go to the damn cookout.
Hold up. I got to clarify for the people listening what you just read. And this is why it's vital. If people that come from the doctrine, and it's not a shot to any of you brothers, because I'm going to make sure I get all my brothers from One West or whatever that have a different concept, I'm going to let them get their fair shot on here. I invited them this time, but I'll make sure they be here next week, about the whole Gentiles being Israelites in the New Testament, right? All right, even if that was the case, we know in the Torah, these strangers were not Israelites, because he was already dealing with the Israelites. They were in their land. So these strangers would have had to been other ethnicities. So that kills a whole lot of stuff that you cannot explain. Go ahead, brother.
But it get worse. You want to talk about a cookout and food? Leviticus 23, man. When you reap the harvest of your land, moreover, you shall not reap to the very corners of your field, nor gather the gleaning of your harvest. You are to leave them for the needy and the damn foreigner.
Woo!
Food.
I got to say something, man.
You are violating Torah, my brother.
I got to say something, Alvin. You just surprised me with that one. But I ought to be ashamed of myself because you are an Israelite. But you know, you usually just get on the historical and the geography. But you just bust the whole show open with nothing but book. So I'm glad you showed everybody, yes, you got it in you too. So let me read this. Let me read this. Let me read this. Because if we truly believe, look, even if you were Tanakh only, and these terms I'm using for people listening, which mean Old Testament, or if you accept the whole book like me, a Messianic, believe in the Old and the New Testament, here's where you got a problem. Isaiah chapter 11. Y'all know where I'm going.
Don't do it. Come on, man. Don't pull out the dagger. Come on, man. Hold on. That's not fair. That's not fair, man. That's like. Listen, you full. Hey, talk about Mikha'EL. You full court pressing when we up by 40, man.
Hold on, bro. I had a feeling one of y'all had this on standby already, so I said I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Somebody beat me to the point. All right, let me go ahead and read the prophet Isaiah or Yeshaya, which are two of our brothers are surnamed after. Now watch this. This kills it all, because if we believe we're going to be recovered, whether we only going to be recovered by the Most High himself, or we're going to be recovered by the Mashiach, which I believe, which is Christ, his son. But it still comes from the power of the Father. Here's where you got a problem. Isaiah chapter 11, I'll start at verse 11. It say, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again. The second time, he says again, because the first time was when he recovered us from Egypt, and also you could some throw in and say it's the scatteration of with the Assyrian Empire. But either way it go, we know this talking future. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, from Egypt, which is, they want to call it Kemet, you know, whatever, from Pathros, from Cush or Ethiopia, from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. Here's where we got the problem. All those countries that he just named, if you go look, is on the continent of Africa. Until he get to the last one, the islands of the sea. And that is us. That's what America, the Western Hemisphere, was considered the islands. Now watch this. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Now, that's sad, because if you saying, you automatically assume somebody from all those countries that was just named are Hamites, then you actually literally don't believe in the scriptures. And when the brother Yeshaya, Lil Yeshaya Wang, brought up Iran, I've seen that native tribe you talking about over there in Iran.
Yep.
And they look exactly like us. Joe, I thought I was looking at some cats in Baltimore or something.
Man, Mikha'EL, they do not show them on the news, man.
And it's a lot of them, because they was doing an interview with him, and he walking through the neighborhood, and he looked like the ghetto. But I'm looking, they standing on the corners. I say, where the hell is this at? And it said Iran. Then they went over to another part in Palestine.
They don't show them. They don't show black Palestinians, man.
I promise, Palestine got a ghetto with cats that look just like us. And when they interviewed the man, he said that we were the original people that were left when this whole land was considered part of Israel, and we got banished to the outer courts. I said, ain't this about a bleep?
They don't show the black Yemeni Jews either. They don't show the black Yemeni Jews either.
All microphones is open. I just wait till next week when I get them other brothers on here. We had a discussion because I got some stuff I'm gonna bring up about the Limber people. So what I'm gonna ask you brothers to do, whoever I invite, because I gotta make sure the space is no bigger than 10 people. Let me see. We got it's five of us on here. Well, 6 including me. So I'll have room for 4 more people. So one of y'all, if y'all don't jump in, y'all gonna probably get left. But I want all of y'all, with all of your research, to pick a particular tribe in Africa that got super evidence that they Israelites, and I want y'all to put meat together on that one tribe. Since it's gonna be all of us on here, I'm gonna deal with the Limber. Somebody can get the Ibu, Falashas, the Ajal, whoever. We gonna do that. We gonna edify these. Yeah, Ashanti, but that's I believe I'm Ashanti, so that's cool. Whoever want to pick Ashanti, they can do that. But we gonna edify the people. We not gonna have people stupid just do the doctrines. And like I say, I'm gonna get some brothers from One West on here too, cause them my bros too. So that's how we gonna do that. So right now, y'all can say what y'all want to. It's an open forum until the live cutoff. And Bassem, if you got something you want to say, please say something.
I'm just listening to everybody drop some knowledge, man. It's all good. Also, it's up to you, Mikha'EL, but there's some other people that want to join. If we're in the, the Q&A segment, or if you want to wait till we go off air, it's up to you. But there's some people asking about the link.
Okay. Well, long as they inform, they watching live. This right here is Hebrews in the Hood. And with that being said, that don't mean that other brothers from other concepts can't come. But this is not like Walls of Jericho, where it's strictly a historical and biblical teaching, and I'll let anybody come on there. I've had Ankh from Amaran Squad and all of them come on there. You know what I'm saying? I just chew them up with the Bible and history. But this one, these first shows, I'm really strictly dealing with my Hebrews. Unless, here's the exception, if you're not coming on here to literally just try to defecate on our beliefs as the scripture, because when it's all said and done, we have to respect your beliefs of Kemet science, whether we disagree. If I come on your platform, I'm not going to talk crazy about Ra. I'm not going to talk crazy about none of them. You know what I'm saying? So if you can do that, and you from an outside concept, that's cool. But for the most part, this is for the brews. Because it's a couple of Kemet brothers that I would most definitely let on. You know what I'm saying? Kansu, a couple of brothers like that. That other dude, that little cat, Amen, if you hear me, you don't even think about it. You can't come on here. But yeah, no, because he talks silly, and I don't want to, show my nigger right.
Right. Now I hear you.
Right.
It has to do with what we're talking about now.
Okay, well, we live.
Of Africa and things like that. I mean, they're gonna respect the platform. If not, I'll bounce them up out of here.
Okay, cool. You the enforcer anyway. So, yeah, if they want to if they have some edification as far as it relates to Shemitic Hebrew Israelite people in the land of Africa, you can come on here now, and we'll stay on live until live run out, and then we'll probably talk a little bit longer off air, because I have to be off. I have to be off by at least 6:30. Because then the wife will be home, and you know how that go. They be like, that's all, you know how it is. Right. They love the work we do, but we got to show them love too. That's part of the scriptures, I ain't finna get in trouble with my own wife because I'm trying to wake up the whole nation. So, yeah, we can do that. Let them in if they want to come in, if they got some evidence to bring. I'm really disappointed my brother Ron Divine Prospect couldn't make it. Prince Daniela couldn't make it. Gorilla Hebrew couldn't make it. But I know once they check this show out, they'll be willing to come to next week's show. Like I say, I'm going to have 2 shows next week. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start picking the hot topic in the hood, and that's what we're going to deal with from a conscious perspective, because that brother Jan made a good point earlier. We are conscious. That's what every Israelite say when they first find out the truth. They say 2 things. I'm in the truth or I'm conscious. But it's just this new con us community I don't want to be a part of. That con us. I don't like it. It's really giving Kemet a bad name. You know what I'm saying? It is. I mean, it's this open mic now, y'all. If y'all want to talk, we could just talk. As long as you ain't got no interference in the back. Yeah, we hear you, Kashu.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question to everybody. When speaking of the lost tribes of Israel and the slave trade and all that stuff, my question is this right here: when they was coming here, where did they dock?
What did they what?
Where did they dock? Where did they land? Where did they land to get, other than being on, because the boats back then was like now. Where did they dock? Because I had this conversation with somebody the other day, and the guy was talking about the Taino people and this, that, and the third. And from my study, they had always been.
That's why I'm asking, are you talking about North America specifically, like Virginia, or are you talking about in the Western Hemisphere, where was the first place, like Brazil, stuff like that?
Yeah, where was the first place they docked? Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, other than the coast of Virginia and Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken, it was Brazil, wasn't it? Because there's more Israelites in Brazil than it is over here.
Right, correct. So before they make it to Brazil, they had to stop. They had to make a little stop in the Caribbean.
True.
So my thing is this right here, like the one guy, and I ain't making no shots at ISUBK or none of that stuff, Well, really I am. I'll just be all the way 100.
That's right. Yeah.
They got the guy, you know what I'm saying? And my thing is, if he a Gentile, it's all good with me. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to teach everybody. But the thing about it is, he say he's Taino. Now, those people had always been in the Caribbean. The Taino people.
Yeah.
So if they and then they had some of the Taino people who could speak. They was well traveled. They was a traveling type people who bought, sold, and trade throughout the world or what have you. Right. So my thing is this right here: if those people had always been there and they then they, even though they could speak Hebrew, don't make them Hebrew.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Jen. By me being bouncing through camps for the last 20 years, just getting their understanding, I'm going to tell you what they're going to tell you, if I'm not mistaken. They correct me when they get their chance on here next week. They're going to tell you that the reason the Taino Indians are over there are because they from the original, after the Assyrians took out the 10 tribes, as they say, but it really was 9, but that's another story. After the Assyrians took them out, they're going to say that they took a 1-year trip to the Americas, and this is how they got over here. So they're going to say that a lot of those natives to those lands that was over here before the transatlantic slave trade was from the original Northern Kingdom. That's what they're going to tell you. Now, if you really get into some history, it's a conflict with that, because I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I do understand that it was Shemitic. See, people got to understand, everybody that's Shemitic is not a Hebrew Israelite. You got Moabites. You got Moabites and a few other that, you know what I'm saying, came over to this land way before the Israelites came over here. So it is very much possible that they would have had some of the characteristics that we had. Meaning, probably, like you said, knowing some Hebrew language, or having some fringes. It wouldn't necessarily have nothing to do with the covenant. It would have had the fact that they was Shemitic people. Some of our stuff was just similar. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was given to us, this is what we do. Wherever we go, the land that we go to, those people take up our customs. We know this. Look at us in America today. We do the stupidest stuff, and every other nation copies us. So that's not, I feel you on that. Kashu, Wayne, y'all want to say something, because it's open field right now. We just got it open right now.
Yeah, I want to say something that's kind of off the grid. I could see. So what Minister Inky was saying about the brother, which I don't like the brother, you know what I'm saying, that Zuriach had. I kind of like the Zuriach because he just more straight out with everything. So.
Yeah, I know what it is. Even if you don't agree with Tazariak.
Yeah.
Tazariak is a real. Put it like this: he don't care what you think. He gonna stay the same. Right.
Like
That's
got
a man.
But
Right.
first of all, my man Minister Inky tried to go into this breaking down the sulfate in the hair and all. First of all, see, this is what these brothers be doing, man. These Kemetic brothers and these Israelite brothers be retro. Yo, they be putting stuff into this book. First of all, that's the customs that we use to show who we come from, so we can go back and determine lineage. That's what that's used for. It's not used for a specific genetic marker or something like that. Oh, you know, he can't really be black even though his father was black and his mom was white. No, that ain't even got nothing to do with the skin color. And I think that's what they missed when it comes down to that doctrine. And I think a lot of Hebrews misrepresent that you are what your father is doctrine. I think they really misrepresent that. That's a way of tracing back our lineage. That's all it's used for. And to make sure that our fathers that went inside those women and their sons that grew up out of their seed, to keep progenerating and that bloodline be secure, because you're still going to have traits of the father in you. So I mean, they take stuff way out of context because you got Hebrews that misrepresent. And I just really wanted to say something about that, because I think those are the things we need to start dealing with, so people can stop using those and then trying to run in science when they ain't got nothing else to say about the Bible, because they know they can't really say nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? So they got to try to use things and, you know, these tactics, you know, thinking brothers don't study and don't know nothing. Another thing, misrepresent. No, you know, y'all, people need to stop trying to make it seem as though Tazariak and ISUPK speak for us in the volume of they don't study, or they may think that they pussies or something like that. I'm not a pussy.
Well, look,
So,
on that subject, hey, look, on that subject, Wayne, because like I say, I don't want to, I want Hebrews to Hood to be real credited amongst the Israelites, because I want this to be our platform with even all our different beliefs, where we don't got to go to Sarnetta and these other House of Consciousness and all that. So what I'm going to say is, you going to have your shot to ask them all these questions next week, you know, as far as, you know, with them putting it like they the scale and all of that type of stuff. No, because a lot of Israel, because I'm going to tell you, a lot of Israelites got a problem with that. Because I know the history. And I you know, if y'all know anything about me, I've never been a camp banger. You know what I'm saying? You know, even though I come from a camp, I've never been a camp banger, because I never felt that was the importance. I always
I'm generally talking about the conscious community, though. See, they try to make like with Divine, right? They try to use Divine, you know, make that public, so the people that's watching can think that all Israelites are like that, or something like that. Like they trying to portray us as weak, like we got a weak image or something. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I see them doing to me. That's what I see when I watch that, man. That's why I get highly upset and pissed off about it, because it seems like since y'all can't damage us and come in this book, and you can't beat us, because everything that y'all threw at us, we threw right back at y'all, whether it was sloppy or not. Now y'all got to start demoralizing people and trying to put an image for all Israelites. Because not one time did they go out there and say, well, we Israelites don't agree with this, that, and the third, or, you know, that believe other nations. You never see Sinai to go do that. He always going to them hood. I'm just not the Israelites, but he's going to hood niggas, man. That's what's going on, man. And they trying to portray us to be weak.
And it was something. And it was something I peeped too. That it was some Kashub Yeshaya said earlier when he was talking about, you know, part of our punishment. I think it was Yeshaya, about, you know, us being the tail and not the head no more. If you looked at that debate, if you want to call it that, between Brother Tazariak and No Light, the funny thing about it was I peeped that, and Tazariak was on point with this. He said that if Israel hadn't disobeyed the Most High, we would be ruling the world. And I don't know if y'all caught this. He said, and he used examples of like the Gentiles wilding out, shooting up each other, and people starve. You know, they control the world. And he was basically saying, if we ran it, that they wouldn't even be doing what they doing, because we would have been showing them, I'm paraphrasing, we would have been leading. So meaning, we would have been the one controlling the world, food, and all that. And the first thing I thought in my mind was, well, who would they been getting their food from? They'd have been getting it from us. So we'd have been feeding them. The world wouldn't have been messed up. That means the other nations would have been tolerated because it wouldn't have been no hate for them.
That's right. That's right.
What I'm saying? See, if you're going to do this thing, you got to do this thing in its entirety, man, or people will poke holes in your whole doctrine.
You're right about that. That was key. You're right about that. He made some good points. Like I said, Cesario made some good points, and I feel as though that every time a Hebrew make a good point, niggas want to come with that science.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you run into a territory that the Bible ain't being damaged by your science. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to take up too much space. My bad. I just had to express it. That's all.
Cool. It is what it is. Like I say, it's open now. Like I say, I got to be off, within the next 25 minutes. So, you know what I mean? Right now, and like I said, Basim, if it's anybody that want to come on, they want to jump on that bottom line panel, they can go ahead and jump on here if they got some edification to bring dealing with the subject. Okay. Oh,
it's all good. I gave the link to the few that were asking. It is what it is. We ain't got much time left on the show anyway, so just keep the conversation up. It is what it is.
Okay, cool. But that being said, then I could bring forth this information then, because that was the last subject we was talking about. It was the Israelites in Africa, right? I hope y'all can hear me because it was something that Yeshaya just said. He was saying how, like, when somebody know how to edify with them scriptures, like the brother Tazariak did to Polite and Inky, what happened was mainly Inky jumped straight off into some science, and I don't even like to call it science because it's science in the scriptures. We had Eastern God science, then you got this Western, and I don't want to hear that crap Ankh be talking about, that pseudo New Age made up science he coming with. You know what I'm saying? I told him that too on one of his, I think it was one of them groups. He had posted that, and I got on there like, oh, here he go with this. We was lizards to donkeys to monkeys science, and he just started laughing. You know what I'm saying? Because he know it's some bull crap. So look, right? Hello? Yeah, I hear you. But look, I'm finna drop this real quick. Just dealing with, I might as well throw this out here now. I'm gonna go with one. If that is your whole basis, genetics, DNA, and all those type of things, like you said, how Inky and Polite got the same things. Like, well, you don't know the difference between the three. When evidently Tazariak was dealing with nationhood with the whole bloodline of your father, and then he went into, you don't know the difference between genetics, biology, and I think it was Manjakario DNA. So here's the thing: some people care so much about that. That's your case. I don't put stock in that. I go off mainly his historicity, which is a word, historicity, because the Bible has that. I go off, geography and things of that nature.
All right, I guess the brother had got cut off, but yeah, that's my whole thing though. Brothers want to run the science every time they get trapped up with the Bible. Whatever the Bible says, they try to run the science, and science doesn't disprove the Bible by a long shot. Israelites have everybody has an understanding of science. I know Muslims that are very superb in science. So
yeah, my bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. I was about to bring up this link I had for the dealing with the Limba tribe people, but I'll go ahead and just wait till next week to bring that out. But they have an extensive history. When I say extensive, it is not this where the problem come in at, where even if you're you call yourself an objective historian, meaning that you're skeptical about certain groups in Africa claiming to be real life descendants of the tribes of Israel. So more than likely you have a bias in you already towards the Bible, its real historical accuracy, and or black folks calling themselves the chosen people of God. Normally that when you dig deep and really research with some people, you will see that that's their That's really the dividing. That's the dividing factor right there. And you know, and the premise that they feel. So when you look at the Limber people, they go back so far. Like I said, in one, I did comparative. I grabbed one. It's one you can find in Encyclopedia Britannica, where it takes them back 2,500 years. But you have another one from an African historian who said it's 2,700 years. So give or take 200 years. And this whole thing is tripped out about him is it lets it be known that there is no, and this is what I've been saying for years. So all you need is the evidence. If you can't find, and I've been saying this for years, and I've had not one person be able to do it. If you've not found one Jewish invasion into Africa where they forced people to convert to Judaism, then you have to explain how these old tribes in Africa claim to be originally from that lineage, that culture, and that religion.
Oh boy.
Hello? Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's your opening piece. How you doing, Brother Garfield? Hold on, let me finish. Yeah, that's Garfield or Garlinks, y'all. He yeah, skeptic, but he's a good brother. All right, now, this is the thing. If you know anything, see, this is where people ignorance come in at, by not studying other world cultures outside their own. This is one definite thing that people know about quote-unquote Jewish people, which we don't claim to be. Now, we can say we're from the tribe of Judah, but we're not Jewish. If you know the history or anything about them, it's one thing purely unique about them as it relates to the other Abrahamic faiths and you know the world dominant religions. And this is the difference. Islam forced you to convert or die. Christianity / Catholicism forced you to convert or die. Now, out of these Abrahamic faiths, here's the difference with Judaism. They didn't want you to have Judaism. Not whatsoever. They would not accept you as a Jew, as they still don't today. Because if you study, most of them are Talmudic and Kabbalic. And when you study them, they believe that they keep the secrets or the true knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And they don't believe that we worthy of having it. So there is no reason that they would ever invade Africa and convert people, because they looked at us as a lower subspecies. This is what the people who run Judaism have always believed. Since we converted them, the Maccabees converted the Edomites, who in return converted the Khazars and the Ashkenazis. And once they got it, they totally rejected us out of that and turned it into a religion, added it with, you know, Kabbalicism, Talmudism, and all that. So if you cannot find a large Jewish invasion into Africa, or the Africans went into the lands, Yemen and all these spots, and hung around these cats in Germany and Austria, and they said, hey, y'all go ahead and take on this religion, you're not going to find it. So the only conclusion left is those Africans who claim to be Jews or Israelites are the real original Jews and Israelites. And I'll let y'all speak. Y'all do what y'all do.
Hello,
I'm going to go to the bathroom. So y'all get it in to cut off.
Everybody on the pod. Can I just say good evening to everybody? Before anybody speaks, it's Brother Garfield here. That's why I say good evening, man. Master Teacher Mikha'EL, what's good?
We're going to the bathroom.
All right. To respond to what the brother said, it's a powerful argument. I can't deny that. But my whole thing is let's try to figure out. To me, I don't think anybody even has addressed really in the Hebrew Israelite community who is a Jew and who is not a Jew, and what makes someone a Jew. Hold on. Let's put the Bible aside for a second, not for any religious argument, just to define who a Jew is. If we weren't, none of us here was ever read the Bible before, how would we define a Jew? Would we say a Jew is somebody who was a resident of Judea, and to short it would be a Jew? Would we say that the people from the Yehud temple, from the Persians, the Yehudim, would we say that they are Jews? And what ethnicity were those Persians? Would we say the Samaritans are Jews? Would we say the people from Leontopolis are from Leontopolis are from Elephantine? Would we say that they're Jews? And for those who don't know, Leontopolis is the guys who were fighting with the Seleucid Empire in the 160s or whatever. They went back to Egypt and they developed a whole new temple called Leontopolis, which was in Thebes or deep in Egypt. Now those people and all of them, who do we define is a Jew from? How do we define a Jew? Not speaking of saying that a Jewish to a white person means Jewish and all that. I don't want that stupid pseudo argument. I'm talking about how would you define a Jew, period? Just by the rituals that they do, or because we know for a fact they're from this lineage? How do you define the Jew? That's what I want to know.
Well, in my opinion, I feel like this. If the Bible didn't exist, and that was a hypothetical type of question. So hypothetically speaking, if the Bible didn't exist, then people will still be into their tribal type of lifestyles. Because the Bible exists, in my opinion, is the reason why we are able to keep up with the tribal type of lifestyle. Now, what I mean by tribal type of lifestyle, to say if you are practicing Muslim.
Who's speaking? Who's that?
Okay, that's Brother Jen. That's Brother Jen, and he make a good point. I can hear you, although I was in the bathroom because I got it on loudspeaker. I can hear you, and I actually got a simple one for that. Well, being that the Hebrew Israelites are the only that makes us unique, we are the only nationality. Well, the Mandarinans and the Cantonese have similar books, but for the most part, we are the only nationality on earth who have a book that chronologized, if that's a word, our whole history. See, no other culture can claim that. A thick book that the world has access to that has our chronology.
I know.
Hold on, let me finish. You asked the question. So what I'm saying is, being that we the only unique nation that have that, we'll do what all the other nations do. They don't have a book. And guess what the other nations do? If you look at, it's just like somebody saying that they come from ancient Egypt, right? How do they prove that they come from ancient Egypt? Well, I know if you go to the South Sudanese and South Sudan, they know that they come from ancient Egypt because, one, they have an oral history. Two, they kept a lot of the customs and even writing styles when they went to South Sudan. Also, their cousins, who they used to go to war with and even enslave, the Nubians, if you know where the Nubian desert is, the Nubian desert is North Sudan. So the funny thing about it is, now the Nubians are clicking up with the Ishmaelites or the Arabs, and they're killing the South Sudanese. So the reason that they know who they are is the same way we would know who we are if you take the Bible out. We would do it the exact same way. We would follow. We would have to research our tribe's oral tradition, our customs, and basically they will have some oral. They will have an oral history of their migration.
Let me ask you a question.
Like
is every oral history correct?
Well, I won't say that every oral history is accurate 100%. If that's the case, you don't know who is who.
Sorry.
If that's the case, you don't know who is who.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, look at what I'm saying, Garfield, because you brought a good question. No, you brought a good question. It's let me use somebody for an example. Let me see. If you deal with the Dogon tribe, you deal with the Dogon tribe.
Or a lot of oral history. That's
a lot of oral history. A lot of his oral history. But now that we have the advantage of things like archaeology, since y'all like to harp on that so much, when you follow archaeology, you'll see the exact same patterns and you'll see the same evidence of certain pottery and things of those nature left behind from places earlier where those tribes would have came from, though they're not there now. They would be fathered in South Africa, but they might have started all the way back by Samaria some dang on well. It's the same thing with us. And if you deal with these native people who come from these places in Africa who claim to be Israelites by blood, they will tell you this stuff. See, we're in America. I'm going to keep it real. With all the technology and influence we got, some of us are kind of out of touch with the real world until you meet these people and you deal with them. And I've had the pleasure of doing it. So I would say that's the easiest way to answer it.
All right. One particular question I'd like to be answered, and the Yahoo temple that Darius, more than likely Darius II, built was a satrap for the Achaemenid Empire. Anyone who was a part of that empire or a part of the Yehudim was considered a Jew. Now, how do you separate that Jew from the Jews that you guys saying that you are today? And what ethnicity were these people who were part of the Yehud temple under the Persian Empire?
Okay, well, that's hey, I'm gonna let you get some of it, Wayne, but let me just respond. See, actually, that's a good question, and I like that question because this is how I started my truth, and it's dealing with straight history, especially when it comes to the Persians, the Babylonians, and things of those nature. There's no secret that we were part of the Persian Empire. We were a big part of the Persian Empire. There were Israelites who actually stayed in Persia, and they were black. Just like us. You can go see the artifacts. They had cornrows with big beards, you know, French braids. We got artifacts for that. And this, yes, it is Yehudim because we call ourselves Yehuda. Now, at that time, the only reason it became like a misnomer, like even when it come all the way down to the New Testament, that they would just start calling Israelite Jews. So you didn't specifically have to be from the tribe of Judah. Like even Paul told you, you know, he was considered a Jew, but he was from the tribe of Benjamin. So that's not a problem. And yes, we were in Persia. Those are the exact same people. And I promise, those are the exact same people as us. And the artifacts explain that. Go ahead, Wayne. Because I know you want to
basically sums it up. That's what the archaeological records say, dealing with the Persian captivity, that we was a part of that empire.
I was gonna say that the reason why I asked for the ethnicity, because I know the Medes who merged with the Persian Empire, those were of the African stock per se as far as ethnicity.
Yes, they were.
Is a Persian, us, me and you. But let me say this though, for the Yehudi, the reason why I bring that up is because the Yehudi people were called the Jews, and with all the mixing that went on,
but see,
these were not ethnic or Israelites per se. Now, let me just finish this point real quickly, my brother. The Yehudim. Oh, you couldn't hear me. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The Yehudi. Hold on. Let me switch something real quick. Let me switch the earpiece around to the other side, right, left to right. All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you nice and clear.
All right. What I am saying to you guys is the Yehudim from the Achaemenid Empire, because the Achaemenid Empire is really the Medes and the original Persians, original Medes merging together as one. This happened like around 550 BC when they basically merged. Now, in 539, when Cyrus took over in the Persian Empire, right?
Hold up. Somebody mute. Y'all got a lot of background. Go ahead, Garfield.
So when they merged, the Yehudim who was there, they built a temple called the Yehud temple. The Yehud temple, and those who were a part of it, even though it wasn't ethnically or have no ethnicity towards that religion, anybody who was a part of this temple was also considered a Jew. But what I'm trying to figure out is, how do you separate them from the regular Jews? How do we do that?
Okay, let me answer. Now, just like I answered, and you took in from that, you said that was a good point. Like I answered earlier, that there's no doubt that we were part of the Persian Empire. That's one of the first things I learned. And when you go look at the artifacts, which we have now, you will see these Negroid, cornrows in the head, big beard, black people that were part of the Persian Empire. These were the Yehudim, which what I am, which I consider to be Yehuda. You know what I'm saying? It was said different words. Now, we know that a lot of them stayed back when we went further and left up out of Persia. Now, here's the thing. Yes, the Yehuda temple or the Yehudim temple, a lot of these were still the same bloodline Israelites, although they start taking up other religions. Meaning, I can use a more recent example of that, and that would be the Yehuda or the Israelites in Timbuktu. Now, you know, this is not some myth. We have the access to get in contact with them. They see, this is the thing. We have a lifeline where the Israelites in Chicago, and not just in Chicago, but in America, are actually conversing with the Israelites in Africa. So we're trading information. And the ones from Timbuktu were publicly stated in the National Geographic it was a National Geographic magazine. It was one of these world news magazines about 9 years ago, and they broke down the invasion of the Muslims that happened, that they came and tried to burn all their books. And when they asked them, how did they get all this ancient Hebrew stuff and all this in the Timbuktu, and it's not just Hebrew, but like it was like a world history library. And they said because they are the original Judeans, or they are original people from Judah, and they have their timeline when they actually made that their permanent home. But the thing is, their religion is Islam now. They converted to Islam, but they say by bloodline they are from Judah. So once you understand that, it trumps religion. It goes beyond religion. You see what I'm saying? And another thing I like to clear up, because see, this is the confusion with people. Y'all know when I get my time and I do my show, I show out. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I got a lot of access to stuff that I've been holding in. A lot of it is in my mind, but you can go check it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't always had internet. We used to have to read books back in the day. And this the whole thing. You'll find out that, like for example, I was using them over there in Timbuktu. They converted to Islam, blah, blah, blah. We know that, right? But this the funny thing. We can show multiple tribes who claim to come from the Hebrew stock, or rather Judah, or whatever they want to claim, and you will find them in parts of the world right now, like the brother brought up earlier. If you see these black native Israelites, as they say claim to be, in Iran, also in Palestine. I seen the brother with my own two eyes get up there in Palestine. I didn't even know they had a hood that looked like ours. And the people look like us. And he over there saying, man, we are the real Jews. They tell you when the land got shrunk up, because we know Israel was much larger than it is now. Now it looked like Gary, Indiana. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, we got pushed to the outskirts. You know, so the evidence for the true, original, real legit, if you want to call us Canaanites, because I know some people like to do that to take away from the word Israelite or Hebrew or whatever, make us not that special. You know what I'm saying? If you choose to use Canada, these original Israelites who spawned from that nation, who spawned from those lands, from the land of Egypt into the land of Canaan, we can find evidence, not even evidence, we gonna get them oral. See, that's my goal. I'm gonna have them coming on this show. Probably not Hebrews in the Hood, probably Walls of Jericho, because it's a little more respected on a family show basics. But I'm gonna have them coming on here. And I want people who are the biggest skeptics to come to these people who from Africa, who got thousands of years of history, and I want y'all to try to argue this internet theology and this internet philosophy against these brothers who gonna tell you to your face that we are the real Hebrew or Hebrew or Hebrew or Ibu, and I'm from the land of Africa. That's what we gonna do, because the time for the nonsense is over with. Everybody else got the right to have their belief what origin they come from, which most of them don't know. They just say we the whole mother Africa. That means they have no idea who the hell they are. You know what I'm saying? But they have that right. Nobody jumps on them about that. But when we get here and say we are the descendants of the lost tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes, they real. It's historicity in that Bible. Whether you like the King James Version and feel it's kind of flawed or not, well, okay, we'll go to something older. You like the Septuagint, you like the Latin Vulgate, you want to go there, you want to go Hebrew. You rather go older than that? You don't hide the whole thing in the Dead Sea Scrolls. But a lot of this stuff collaborates with one another. So that's my whole goal right there. And any more questions? I see we got Brother Yahweh on here, Brother Kansu. Peace, brothers. Brother Mikha'EL. Peace to you, brother. I hate y'all came late, man. We really got it in. It was real edifying. We dealt with the conscious community and the Hebrews, you know, things wanting to get physical, you know, becoming nigger scholarship. We dealt with that real good. Ron Divine wasn't able to make it, and Prince Daniela, but they'll be on next week because we're gonna do a part 2 of that. I actually want some brothers from the Kemet community on that one too. Even though there's Hebrews in the hood, I would like Kansu and them on that one, even Garfield, because we need to talk about that.
Hey, brother Mikha'EL, I want to say something, man, that needs to be corrected, man. There is no such thing as a conscious community.
Oh, I feel you, Joe. You know what?
It does
you know what? Hey, you know what? We had a big conversation about that.
So when you conscious community, it does not exist. You might have everybody feels that they're
right.
Just a matter of, does that mean that you're part of the conscious community? I mean, come on, there's no such thing. It's polite. Now, this is what it's all about, though. He does not represent me. I'm conscious. He does not represent Garfield Reed.
Hey, well, you know what, Garfield? On that note, I gotta agree with you 1,000% because we had like a 30, because the brother Jen, that's down there, that's here, my brother Jen, he actually brought that up, and we had about a 30-minute conversation on that term. We might need to ditch it. You know what I'm saying? We really might need to ditch it because some of the stuff I see in the quote-unquote conscious community, matter of fact, where the hell is the community at, for one? But the people who call themselves conscious, I see a lot of unconscious stuff going on with them. We're going to try to keep it clean, but I know my brother Kansu want to say something, man. You got something to say? We really, or brother Mikha'EL, or Yahweh, the one thing we was really focusing on, we was talking about how it didn't get from being scholastic and cats supposed to be uplifting the cats from the streets that we come from, but now y'all on TV talking about I'm gonna put my hands on you and all that type of stuff. So that's what we was dealing with, one part of it.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment.
Uh-oh. Go ahead, Kansu.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to make this statement. I've noticed, I've experienced it over and over again. If you're going to make a presentation in regards to the history of the Bible, and you want to attempt to deal with it scholarly, rules of scholarship, and it's like stop. Period.
You kind of breaking up. You breaking up, Kansu. Kansu, you breaking up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound better now. Go ahead.
Yeah, these blatant disrespect by people who are obviously been trained. They've been trained in being an evangelist, an enthusiast, or I've experienced.
Conso, your connection is killing me, bro.
Yeah, is that better?
Throw that Mr. PCS phone out, man. Come on, get on the iPhone, bro. Stop that, man. Stop that.
Echo to Mikha'EL. He's echoing to Mikha'EL's mic.
Oh, okay. Let me mute.
Yeah, go ahead, Kansu. Yeah.
What I'm saying is that one of the issues is the lack of respect, etiquette, and scholarly
actions by those on either side. That has to stop. The gang tactics, the cutting off on purpose, the lying, and all those kind of things have to stop. What's going to happen is if you want me to dissertate and speak on what I'm in trade on, you're going to pay me. Now, that's just me talking because I get paid to lecture. So I'm not going to put up with somebody who does this at their leisure or their passion that don't even follow simple guidelines in a scholarly conversation. That has to stop. And I've noticed that in the last couple of days. If you're not prepared on either side to digress as a scholar, then sit down and let the big boys do their work. If you can't compete with me because you're not as smart as me or intellectual as me, then get out of my way. Period. Point blank. Bottom line. Cut your game plan. Cut your foolishness and sit down. And that's just the bottom line.
Well, you know what? Well, you know what? With that, I can't say I disagree with you on none of what you just said because that's true. And like you said, on either side, earlier, if you go back and look at it, we got into the details of it, and that's the truth. Because if you're coming on here just to be heard, that's what I believe a lot of people doing. I think it's a look at me, 15 minutes of fame type thing. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. Maybe they making, money off of it or whatever, which I don't have a problem with that because, like you said, I can get paid for seminars. Matter of fact, I've been offered to get paid by seminars, even to travel to Nigeria. And I'm probably going to take that up, depending on what the subject is. I'm not going to try to get paid to feed people knowledge because I do believe that this if it's really some bread of life, it should be given free. But at the same time, if it's something that these people really clamoring for and they don't have a problem with feeding the ox, like the scriptures say, the Most High say, I will not muzzle my ox, meaning the ox doing work for me, I'm going to make sure he eat. So you have to learn how to balance it out. But a lot of these cats are doing this just because they've been on the internet, they done Wikipedia'd a few things, they done read a couple of books, they done heard a couple of stories, and they say, you know what, I think I can jump in there with them. And they don't take it as serious as us. See, that's the thing. Even if you don't have a religious conviction, you should have a conviction that you should have some duty that you owe to your people. And what do you owe to your people? To drop knowledge on them so that they can wake their ass up from this dead state, right? So if that's your number one priority, then you won't be on here nigga cooning, still trying to gangbang, on a conscious level. Talking about, well, you know what? I don't care if you write, if that book or if that concept make more sense than my concept. But I bet you won't come over here and say that to my face. I'll put my hands on. That's some nigga coon stuff. That's some nigga coon stuff. And for everybody on the line, we won't be dropping no F-bombs because it's still a family show, but we can keep it real. I think everybody agree. There's no place for that. If you Kemet or you Hebrew, we should not be talking about I'm gonna slap the ish out of you. You know what I'm saying? When I see you, or a cat's talking about let's put them do. I don't like that, because if that's the case, why the hell did a lot of us? Let me say this, Garfield. I might be taking it a little personal, and I'm trying to just be a professional host, but excuse me, because that touched the nerve what the brother just said. Because I'm gonna keep it real. If that's the case, especially dealing with the Hebrew Israelites, and Kansu know this, a lot of the Hebrew Israelites, especially in the Shai, come up from gang life. That's what they were. So it was that text, whether you agree with it or not, that changed their life. Now, when you're dealing with brothers like this that may have form of blood on their hands, then lost people due to gang violence, and now all of a sudden you done been on the internet, read a couple of books, and you coming out here talking about putting your hands on people. See, you're going to get yourself in some damn trouble. You see what I'm saying? If that's the case, you could have just stayed on the corner selling drugs, gangbanging, whatever you was going to do. I'm not about to divert. Because if I learned something that's true and it changed my life, then I should show it in my behavior. And it should rub off on the people that watch me more than what I say, watch what I do. If the minute I get into a conflict with another brother who's supposed to be an intellectual that young people look up to, and I say, well, you know what? Yeah, this nigga, I can't deal with his knowledge. He's showing me up out here in public. So you know what? I'm going to put some hands on him, or I'm going to have some niggas do something to him. Then you need to stay your ass out of the so-called conscious community or out of the spotlight, because we don't need you use a coon. I just want to say that. Go ahead.
Hey, Mikha'EL, if you could, we probably got about 12 minutes
Yeah, I was
left
gonna
on the
say
live stream.
that
Could,
I told Tazari in the group.
if we got probably about 12 minutes left, if we could let Mikha'EL, the other Mikha'EL, your fellow War Machine affiliate, jump in, Michael Edwards, Yahawada, and then, you know, finish out with whatever Garfield and Yami and the rest of the brothers. But there's probably about 12 minutes left on the live stream if Mikha'EL or somebody else wanted to jump in. That's all.
Yeah, that's perfect. I wanted to hear Mikha'EL and Yahweh the boys say that. Everybody else mute y'all phones. Let Mikha'EL and Yahweh say what they got to say about this.
Yeah, I just want to. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
hear
hear
you. Everybody else mute y'all phone. Go ahead, Mikha'EL.
Okay, man, I just want to say peace to all y'all brothers, and peace to you, Mikha'EL, especially Basim. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all brothers because y'all consistent and you're real, and I appreciate that. And you know, I want to echo even Kansu's words, and I mean everything y'all said tonight. I mean today, I receive it, and Kansu hit the nail on the head. You know what I'm saying? Putting forth the real teachers versus the fake teachers out in the public. I've dealt with so many people this year on so many different levels, people that do not respect real scholars and real scholarship and real time put into study. Till they, you know, they puke at real study, but they accept the status quo. We have Hebrew Israelites, you know, that will not honor the Hebrew language. I just think it's so disrespectful to the people, you know, because we are English, but, you know, people that won't apply themselves as teachers and they get so thrown off and so, you know, they take it offensive when there are teachers that are teaching more depth, you know, and so them things need to fade from our whole cipher, you know. We all got our different issues, you know what I'm saying, but as far as behavior, but I mean the teaching part, the teaching aspect, man, you know, I can't say it enough. I stress if we're going to stand before the people, you need to know what you're talking about all the way down to the root. Scrape your knuckles on the floor of the knowledge bucket. But I'll end it with that, and I just want to say peace to all of y'all brothers. Excuse me. I just got finished eating. But peace to all of y'all, man, and much love.
All right, for sure, bro. Much love to you, Michael Edwards. Much love, Mikha'EL. And I'm going to make sure you be a guest on one of the upcoming shows. Next week, I'm doing 2 shows. One of them going to have the brothers from One West on here with the brothers that come from other understandings. And we're not going to have an argument or a nigga side debate. We're going to sit here and be able to openly ask them questions about certain issues dealing with the other scattered tribes like in Africa. So go ahead, brother. So Mikha'EL, I got you on one of them slots. Brother Mikha'EL, not Mikha'EL, brother Yahawada, go ahead, bro. You got something you want to say?
Yahawada or Masada, the 2 brothers we haven't heard from yet.
Yeah, I just now chimed in, but from what I heard, and what Albert said, I agree with him 100%. I feel that if you are a person who is not fluent in the information you are contending about with the other person, then it's really pointless unless you have a different perspective or a question in regards to their material. And I will admit, sometimes I myself will speak on things that I shouldn't be speaking on, and I feel like, well, we're a body. As far as my Israelite brothers, like when it comes to Michael Edwards, I do understand some aspects of Hebrew language, but if he's talking about it, I'm going to be quiet because he knows more about it. Or about the lineage of Edomites and everything, if Mikha'EL, the other Mikha'EL, is talking about it, I should be quiet. And same with Wayne. Like, he's a very good scholar in my eyes that understands a lot of the things that occurs in the Middle East, and I will assist him, but again, he is that expert in that area. And of course, when it comes to science and stuff, then I'll say my piece. But I think Kansu said it correctly, and I agree with him. And I'm just happy to see a lot of my brothers that's on this call right now that actually have an area of expertise. And but together as one, we're very strong. So I just like to say peace to all my brothers on that.
Peace to you too, Yahweh. We appreciate
Yes.
you.
Yeah, shalom to you, brother. How many minutes we got left, my son?
About 7. Brother Masada, are you able to
Yeah,
comment real quick?
Masada, let us hear your outtake on as far as the new dirtiness of the quote unquote conscious community as it relates to the Hebrews and the Comedics, like as far as wanting to put their hands on each other and all that madness. What you think, Ak? And then I'm gonna close out.
It's like breaking up, so I can't really, I'm not sure if it's going to be breaking up on my end or is it going to be
We
breaking
hear
up.
you. We hear you, Masada. Go ahead and share your piece.
Um, I really don't have a piece right now, so I'm just going to reserve it and let you guys take it from here. But shalom.
Peace to you too, brother.
Okay. Well, with that being said, I guess we got about 4 minutes left. This was another successful show. I'd like to thank all the guests who watched on YouTube Live, and I most definitely like to thank the panelists who came to spend their time with a brother like myself and Basim and all the other people, other parts of the party that's involved in this conversation. I also like to say I still thank you to the brothers who couldn't make it, because I did it at the last minute, like 2 hours ahead of time, and then I tried to get Priest Donayala, the really Hebrew Ron Divine, and them on here. But I know they want to come, so I'm gonna say that slot open for them next week, and I think that's gonna be real interesting. Y'all gonna really like this one, especially if you're not familiar with the Hebrew Israelite community, because we're gonna take it from both sides. We're gonna have both point of views here, and instead of us just straight out debating and fighting on our beliefs, we're going to ask each other questions. And I'm going to kind of sit back in that one, and I'm going to let the brothers just tee off and ask each other questions so we could come to some type of edification, because when it's all said and done, we believe in not only ourselves and our own intelligence, because it tells us don't lean until our own understanding, but the words, every word of the Most High God. We believe in our nation as a people, the nation of Israel. We believe we've been scattered due to our own ignorance and stupidity. And so we trying to stop being a stupid nation and go back to the glory of we was once promised to be. And with that being said, I thank everybody to coming, the Hebrews in the hood, Walls of Jericho. I love y'all, baby. I will be back, Walls of Jericho. I know it's been a long time, but I want to make sure when I come back, I do it right. And shout out to all my brothers who trying to do something in the community and change this plight, this nasty, filthy situation that we in, and return ourselves to glory. With that, I say all praises due to the Most High Elohim, Abraham, Ishaq, and Yaakov, and his son Jesus Christ, the Hamashiach. And with that, I say Hebrew war machine.